by Schwann's, by U.S. Bank, by Senex Harvest States, by Bugles, and by Alliant Energy.
Here's our first look at Winona at the border battle here in Minneapolis. Mike Woodley with Anthony LaPanta and also Sarah Pierman on field level as the Winona State Warriors go back and talk about it for a bit because the referees are going to drop the flag.
Offside on the defense.
Lining up apparently in the neutral zone.
Looked like Dominic Litwin, the nose tackle, jumped offside for Stevens Point on the play, but this Winona offense, one of the most explosive in the NSIC this season. Second in the conference in passing, number 5 in total yards, and averaged nearly 28 points a game.
1st and 5 now as we get a look at Andy Nett, quarterback from Winona. A little strong with his pass on the flat as he tries to connect to Jeff Dobberton.
Dobberton's the leading receiver for Winona State. Caught 48 balls for over 900 yards this year. And this is a very youthful Winona State offense. They had to replace Carson Walsh, who graduated last year, one of the best all-around players in the NSIC. And they've replaced him with a freshman, Kevin Curtin. Curtin leads the NSIC in total offense. You have a freshman quarterback in net. Dobberton, your leading receiver, just a sophomore. This is a youthful group.
There's the handoff inside, and just struggling through for a few yards is Ryan Walsh. Walsh, the junior running back, was more of a workhorse last year because as Kevin Curtin emerged on the scene, he's taken a lot of the carries. There's a look at Walsh again as he couldn't break free from the Stevens Point defense.
Last year he provided quite a contrast to his brother Carson. He was the more physical of the two. As here now we see a 5 receiver set.
5 receivers set, nobody in the backfield on 3rd down and 2. Quick pass across the middle, and Vasquez gets pulled short of the 1st down. Big defensive effort. Tim Rabis with the tackle again as he holds Vasquez short of the 1st down, and we'll see the punting unit of Winona State.
Well, he had to be sure-handed with the stop because Vasquez didn't need much. Talked about the physical play of this Stevens Point team, and you see it right there.
Ryan Walsh back to punt for Winona, standing at his own 9. Low snap, gets it off. Kicking down to Roth at his 35, darts across the 45 to the 47, where he's brought down, and good field position for Stevens Point on their 2nd offensive possession.
Stevens Point would love to see this become a defensive struggle, smash mouth type of football game where field position becomes a key. Although if you get into a game like that, many times it'll be the special teams that breaks it open, and Winona State probably had the best special teams in the NSIC this year. They led the conference in both punt returns and kick returns.
Krause on the draw, nothing doing as they try to catch him napping as Todd Goodman is held for a minimal gain at best and maybe a short loss. That offensive line for Stevens Point is big on the outside. There's a look at John Mish, 13 years at Stevens Point. This must be an incredibly frustrating season for him. Again, his victories have been just out of the grasp, but a good program, real strong program up there in the Fox River Valley.
Since 1990, only La Crosse and Whitewater have a better winning percentage in the WIAC.
This time they give off to Goodman on the handoff, but there was Winona State sniffing the play and bringing him down for about a 5-yard loss.
Good penetration by Davin Thompson. Big defensive tackle comes through, beats the trap, and makes the play. Sure-handed tackle, but the Pointers need to execute the trap at the point of attack better. On this play, Todd Prochaska just ran right past the man he was supposed to block.
Trying the same play, but this time on the reverse, then back to Krause. He's going deep, and he's got a man, and he's able to complete the pass as he's brought down at the 11-yard line. What a play as Levi Massey is able to haul it down, and a little trickery works for Stevens Point.
Well, they gave the same look, and Winona State who had sniffed the play out just one snap previous, was right there to make the play on Goodman, but the reverse, the flea flicker, and Nassie has just his 5th catch of the year, but this is a big one as it goes all the way to the 12-yard line.
And Naring has his hands on it, back to Krause, who finds Massey deep, and Stevens Point is in business now. 1st and 10 at the 12. Back split behind Krause. He's back to pass, looking for more out on the flat. He's able to hit Schmidt. Schmidt across the 10 and knocked out of bounds at the 8-yard line.
They'll throw to both of these backs we talked about in the open. Schmidt's their leading receiver. He only had 16 catches on the year, but they've looked for him a couple of times here in the opening quarter. Showing a little confidence in the young quarterback, allowing him to throw the football even here in the red zone.
2nd down and 5 now at the 7, meaning Stevens Point could get themselves a 1st down yet inside the 3-yard line. Back split behind Krause on 2nd and 5. Back to pass, a quick hitter across, nearly intercepted. Stepping up and nearly making the big play was Isom. He sniffed it out, but it falls incomplete.
Well, Isom was thinking 100 yards the other direction on this play. Read the route correctly, jumped it, and nearly came away with the football, and if he did, nobody was going to catch him.
Dangerous play for Stevens Point. Nice thinking, though. A quick pass like that, generally your chances of success are pretty strong. Now, no one in the backfield behind Krause as all receivers are out wide. He's got some time on a screen pass in the middle as he finds Schmidt, but Winona finds Schmidt as well at the 7.
Gavin Thompson read it well, and he was right there waiting for Schmidt. He wasn't fooled by the screen. Thompson makes his 2nd big play on this drive, and Stevens Point will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Jason Stuke runs out on the field for Stevens Point. Ball will be placed at the 14, the 24-yard field goal. See how the sophomore does on this field goal try. High snap, but it is up and no good. Just off to the right. Stuke hit it pretty good, but just a bit right, and Wisconsin Stevens Point comes up short. We're scoreless at the Metrodome, the border battle. Wisconsin and Minnesota dueling at the Metrodome, and we'll be back with more here on MSC.
Farming is hard work, long hours, and a bit unpredictable. But today, producers are putting together a cooperative system that's helping them reduce risk and get more from everything they produce, making it a little easier for them to greet each new day with confidence. Cenex Harvest states, we grow value.
Isn't that the Red Baron?
Yes, but who's he with?
Escape the everyday, even if it's just for dinner, with a delicious Red Baron baked to rise, our most incredible pizza yet.
Tools give you the edge, the upper hand. Financial tools from U.S. Bank are no exception. They simplify a complicated job. Over time, they make you wonder how you ever got along without them. For every person, for every financial need, we have a tool. Your needs, our tools. U.S. Bank.
At the Metrodome, again, a look at the field goal, which was wide right. Maybe just tipped it as well, Anthony, as there was a lot of pressure. It was nearly blocked.
Well, the Pointers have struggled in the special teams all year. Now just 1 of 7 on field goal tries. This one a gimme from 24 yards away.
Andy Nett lines up Winona State at his own 20. Back to pass on first down. Looking deep, but just a bit too strong as he's trying to find Kevin Curtin. Andy Nett let it go a little more than Curtin could run underneath. And Curtin's got some pretty quick speed.
He has great speed. I mentioned that he led the NSIC in all-purpose yardage this year. He caught 33 passes, rushed for 674 yards. Dangerous return man as well, but he had his leading receiver, Jeff Dobberton, wide open down the middle. Instead, opted to go to Curtin, running the corner route. Missed him long.
Second down, 4 wide receiver look. And this time they'll hand off inside. Nothing doing at all. Is just virtually no gain is Jepson, who changed his number just moments before the game started today. Here's Jepson on the stagger draw and going nowhere, brought down in a hurry, is unable to fool the defense and Paul Schmidt. Third down and 12 now. Passing situation for Winona State at their own 18. Andy Nett with back split behind him. Back to pass. Across the middle, he's able to hit Jepson. Jepson crossing the 35 out to the 37, still 3 yards shy of the first down.
Well, it's 2 straight 3 and outs for this Winona offense. The Stevens Point defense this year was just 6th in the WIAC. They allowed nearly 400 yards a game, but they have not been fooled by this speedy Winona State offense on their first 2 offensive possessions.
Roth and Gast back to receive the punt, standing at their 35-yard line. Ryan Waltz back. He gets it off a line drive kick and picked up by Wilson, Josh Wilson, who's back for it. He's brought for tussled back at his own 35 for a short loss as Wilson goes down, the sophomore. And now we'll see Stevens Point again with another offensive try. For Stevens Point and their coach, this is really their bowl game, Anthony.
No, it is frankly, for most of the teams in the 2 respective conferences. The WIAC will not get 2 teams in the Division III playoffs this year. Only Wisconsin Stout will advance. And Winona State will be the only NSIC team playing in a postseason game as they go to the Mineral Water Bowl.
In motion is Gast on first down at the 39-yard line and pushing his way forward with a short gain. Krause looking now at 2nd and 5 for the Pointers. There's another look at it.
This follows a good surge off the right side of the offensive front.
Let's get some big boys up there too. The tackles all go 300 pounds, and you might want to use those guys a little more often today. Here's the handoff as it goes to Gast around the end. He's got the corner pushed out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Real close, if not a first down for Stevens Point.
Looks like with that spot he will have first down yardage. And here's another example of Gast. Doesn't have sprint or speed, but he's just quick enough to get to the corner. Gets a good block out front from Schmidt that allowed him to escape and get up the sideline for a first down.
They got him at 222. He looks bigger than that. He looks like maybe he's gained some weight this football season, because he looks like he's about 240.
You have to remember that he's not a big guy height-wise. He's a physical back.
There's the handoff to Schmidt. Crosses the midfield stripe, but not much more beyond that. A gain of about 2 inside Winona territory.
Tom Sawyer has to be a bit concerned. That's a start for his team here. Put up some impressive numbers at Winona State. Last year fell just short of an NSIC championship. They were beaten late in the year by the eventual champs from Northern State. But this year wrapped up the title with their exciting win over Minnesota Duluth last week. We have a bit of a delay here as the clock is at 0 up on the scoreboard, and officials say, hey, I know this game is moving quickly, but not quite that quickly.
One thing about Tom Sawyer too, he's happy in the fact that he's won NSIC championships 3 of the last 4 years, 5 in the last 8. And overall, his team has had great success playing indoors here at the Dome, but not lately, as they have lost 3 of their last 4 here indoors, including their last 2 and a tough one a year ago.
Now they've put 11:41 on the clock. That's not right. This drive started with 7:19 remaining in the quarter. So we have to be somewhere down in the 6-minute mark at this point.
There we go.
We'll put it at 6:25.
Really quick game, as you mentioned. We're not seeing, I think both teams seem a bit tentative. And certainly Winona State this year has shown some flashes of some offensive punch. So we'll see if this game changes its focus as we continue on here into the late first quarter. First down, or second down rather, and 9. Krause back to pass. He's looking deep. He's got a man too, and he hits him. Complete with the pass is Todd Goodman into Winona territory at the 27-yard line. Goodman had a big game for them last week. He caught 4 catches for over 119 yards in a disappointing loss last week. Stevens Point to Eau Claire.
Boy, Goodman makes a nice catch. The ball wasn't thrown very well by Krause. He had all kinds of time and all sorts of room. You give a receiver that open, you want to miss inside, give him a chance to continue to gain yardage after the catch. They'll take it the way their offense has gone, but he had a couple of receivers open on the play.
This time it goes to Lance Gast as he turns it up inside. He might have been better off going outside, as Winona State is right there, and a short gain, if any, bringing up second down and 9.
Well, the Pointers with a big edge in total offense to this point. 111 yards for Stevens Point, only 8 for Winona State. But they haven't turned it into any points. Here they sit at the 27-yard line. On the move, but can't afford to be stopped again.
Back split again behind Krause. This time he gives it another little bit of trickery as it goes back to Krause, but broken up. Gast gets the handoff, then he tries to throw back to his quarterback on the flat, but standing there to bust up the play was Jesse Ison.
Well, Ison was right there, read it again, came very close to an interception that might have resulted in 6 the other way. If you're Stevens Point, why not? You're 1-8, have a little fun here in the Metrodome and try a couple of gadget plays, but you have to be careful with him because this one nearly cost you 6 points.
Nice pass by Gast, though. He led Krause perfectly. It's just that the defender Ison also saw the play and stepped up and nearly picked it off. Backs in the eye behind Krause on 3rd and 10 at the 27 of Winona State. Krause on play action, back to pass, now rolling out, looking deep, connects. Able to find his big tight end, Ian Zertler, inside at the 5-yard line.
Zertler has not been a big part of the Stevens Point passing attack this year. And you could see he looked just a little unsure of himself as he made this catch, but given 22 yards and another first down for Stevens Point. Well, he's off to a good start. He's hit on 5 of 7 for 95 yards.
As a look at Zertler, again the sophomore. Handoff, quick snap. Krause trying to do it himself and gets pushed back after a gain of 2 on 1st and goal.
Looks like we have an injured Pointer on the play.
That could be tough for the Pointers right now. It's their offensive line. That looks like Todd Prochaska.
Holding that knee or ankle on the left leg, and don't need to tell you about the likelihood and frequency of leg, knee, ankle injuries when playing here on the artificial turf, but he was caught on the bottom of the pile. It looks like they're concerned about the left knee.
You talk about offensive injuries. One thing about Stevens Point this year, their offensive line has stayed pretty much intact. That has not been the case for Winona State. It's been amazing what Tom Sawyer was telling me, that they've had 7 different players playing up on their offensive line so far, and the only player on their offensive line that has played the same position all year long is their right guard, Sam DeGrino. Here's another look at that play. Let's see if we can find out.
the left guard, 67.
Ow.
And it looks like somebody just fell on his left leg is caught under the pile. May have been his own teammate that fell On top of him looked like Paul Stefik, the big left tackle, rolled backward onto Prochaska's leg. This is an experienced group up front for Stevens Point. Prochaska is senior, 3 juniors as well on that front, and they are big. Stefik and the right tackle Luke Hilgeman each go over 300 pounds. 3 in the middle, Wagner at the center, Van Sink at right guard, Prochaska at left guard, all over 280 pounds. And it's going to be 2nd and goal to go for Stevens Point. They have dominated just about any statistical category you can come up with, but yet on the scoreboard, still nothing doing. They must cash in here. Half a dozen first downs. Winona State has gone 3 and out on each of their 2 possessions.
R.J. Horton takes the place of Prochaska on the offensive line. He's also a big guy at 287. On 2nd and goal. Handoff inside.
He's in.
He's in. Waiting for the sign. There it is. Touchdown as Schmidt is able to break the plane and put Stevens Point on the scoreboard.
4 touchdowns for Wally Schmidt this year. Nothing fancy about this one. Just hand it to him and let him follow some of those big bodies up inside.
Big block by Nick Van Kuck on that play. Set it up. Extra point is also through, so Stevens Point has struck first.
Watch it again as Wally Schmidt takes it inside and sticks that ball out to break the plane. He had 11 touchdowns last year for Stevens Point, has his 4th of the 2000 season here, and it gives the Pointers the early lead at 7-0. Impressive drive for the Pointers as they march 61 yards for the score. And they've shown the ability to move it on the ground against this tough Winona defense. We've commented on the explosiveness of the Winona State offense, but the reason they won the NSIC title was their defense. Number 2 against the run. They allowed only 116 yards a game. Number 1 overall in the league. Number 1 against the opposition in terms of scoring as well. But here they've been pushed around by the Pointers on 2 consecutive possessions.
And watch out for Winona State special teams, though. This is an area where Stevens Point has to be careful. Kevin Curtin has been very dangerous this year. In fact, he has 100-yard returns in 2 of the last 3 games off kicks. So he certainly has the ability to go deep, and he's quick and very crafty, an all-purpose guy, and there's no problem at all breaking free on a kickoff. And he's the deep man for Winona.
He averaged 31.5 yards a kick return this year. I mentioned earlier, Winona State led the league in both kick returns and punt returns this year.
And there is Curtin off and running after the short kick, and he's got a blocker or 2 ahead of him, crosses the 40, finally pushed out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Stevens Point didn't want to kick to his strength, so they kicked it short. It bounced twice off the turf, gratuitously right into Curtin's arms, and he made something out of it.
45-yard run back for Curtin. And they did. They tried to kick it away from him, but he played the bounce correctly, follows his blockers up the sideline. Not exactly how they diagram it, but that's what you have when you have explosive skill position players like Winona State does.
And as fast as that, it's 1st and 10 for the Winona State Warriors at the 35. Here's the pitch. It goes out to Curtin. He's got the corner, tries to cut it inside. Across the 25 to the 23.
Well, let's see if we see Winona State try and go more to this. Get out on the perimeter, try and take advantage of your speed against the Stevens Point defense. They haven't been able to do it thus far. They've had little success running up inside. Here they finally get Curtin on the perimeter. Good block outside to give him a chance to get into some open field, and you get these Winona backs out in the open against the Stevens Point defense, and I think Winona State will take that matchup.
1st and 10 now. It's net back to pass. This time he's got his guy. Vasquez is out there. Touchdown! Vasquez was able to get free, and laying it right in his arms was Andy Nett.
Well, back-to-back series. Winona State went 3 and out. Now in this series they go 2 and in. 2 plays and they're in the end zone. It started with the kick return by Curtin and finishes with this touchdown pass from Net to Vasquez, the 2nd touchdown catch of the year for Vasquez and the 12th touchdown pass of the season for Andy Net.
Opkin North will try the extra point, which will tie the game. 4 minutes to go in this first quarter. I had a feeling Winona State might strike after being scored upon, and they did. And the extra point is also true, and we have a tie game.
Let's watch it again. Nothing fancy. Vasquez just gives a little bit of an inside move and then breaks it back to the corner. Net's looking his way all the way. Knew he had Stevens Point in a 2 deep. They couldn't get to the perimeter in time, and Vasquez is able to haul it in, dance into the end zone for the touchdown.
It's just a nice play, too. The pattern was well run. The pass was right on the money, and Tom Sawyer, I'm sure, happy. And as you see there, John Mish not exactly pleased with what happened, but again, he's been opening up the offense, trying some trick plays, having some fun here, trying to enjoy this this trip to the Metrodome. There's a look at the scoring drive. It happened quickly after the quick run back, or the long run back by Curtin set up the pass to Vasquez from 23 yards out, and a tie ball game here at the Metrodome.
And the reverse on the kickoff, and Gast is going to be stopped short of the 20-yard line. Again, the Pointers with a little trickery. But on the reverse, nobody was fooled.
There's a look at it as Roth gets it. And then the little dish off and try to make something happen, but Gast wasn't able to find a whole lot. But I like the fact that Stevens Point is having some fun here, Anthony. Why not? Let's shake the bag a little bit and see what we got in there and have some fun. First down and 10 now at the 18-yard line. Inside handoff, nothing doing at all, as Winona State was able to come up and stop Wally Schmidt before he could break through for any significant yardage.
Eric Elistad was there defensively, had some help from John Buswitz. This Warrior defense has been pushed around a bit in the early going by the Pointers. Well, let's see if the touchdown injects a little life into their defensive unit.
2nd and 7 now on the 21 for Stevens Point. Backs in the eye behind Krause. This time gives it to the second man, and through is Todd Goodman, but not for much as they bring him, in fact, for a short loss.
Eric Seek was there, and wow, did he hit him. Face mask to face mask, and you can see him. He's excited about the hit. Watch this contact by Seek. That's what you call stopping somebody dead in their tracks. No gain on the play for Goodman.
They like Seek a lot, too. He's a freshman. He's really impressed Tom Sawyer this year, the head coach, with his aggressiveness. Big kid, too. 3rd down and 7 now. Little trickery as they throw it out on the flat to Massey, but he's brought down in a hurry as he can't break free, and another loss of yardage for Stevens Point.
Trying to set up the flanker screen, they motion Wally Schmidt out to the slot in hopes that Schmidt can make a downfield block, but you see Schmidt fails to get a body on Isom, who then is able to hold up the receiver just long enough to wait for help from his defense. A loss of 4 on the play. Massey was on the receiving end of the big flea flicker earlier in the game, loses 4 yards on this one, and the Pointers will have to kick it away from deep in their own territory.
Maney at his own 3 gets it off. Kevin Curtin is back deep for Winona, but they don't want to have anything to do with Curtin. They kick it out of bounds inside Stevens Point territory at the 45, where Winona State will get another crack at the football with 1:54 to go in this opening quarter.
Only a 26-yard punt, and once again they're paying so much attention to the explosiveness of Curtin and try to keep it away from him. They wind up shanking the punt. Only 47 yards of offense for Winona State, but the only important number is that they got 35 of them on their last drive to get in the end zone and tie the game.
Net dishes off on the handoff to Curtin, who can't turn the corner, brought down for a loss as Stevens Point was ready for that one. As you said, if you can get that type of field position, if Curtin can bring them all the way deep into Stevens Point territory, you don't need a lot of offense.
Watch this tackle by Kurt Trunkle on the corner. Get an illegal block there that isn't flagged, and then Trunkle one-on-one against Curtin, wraps him up. Textbook stop by Trunkle on the play.
2nd and 13 now at the Stevens Point 48-yard line. Backs in the eye behind Andy Nett. Freshman quarterback. Back to pass, has some time, lots of time, looks out on the flat to Curtin, completes the pass at the 50, but knocked down immediately for a loss of yardage.
Anthony Parr made this stop for Stevens Point, and the reason he's able to make the play is because Nett delivers the football just a little bit late. Now he's checking off, but a little too much air under the ball. That, by the time Curtin makes the play, there's plenty of time for Dylan Maney to close and make the tackle, and it's going to now be 3rd and 16 for Winona State.
At their own 49-yard line with 4 wide receivers in this obvious passing situation. Nett is back to pass, feels some pressure, able to get it to Jepson across the 50, making some yards, but knocked down at the 38, which is about 3 yards shy of that orange stick, which means that it'll be 4th down.
They may go for it here. You're probably no real reason to punt the football, gain any major field position advantage by doing so, and it looks like they will indeed go for this 1st down. A big 4th and 4 coming for Winona State, probably just as big for the Stevens Point defense. They've done a nice job to this point, but if you can stop Winona, and we'll wait until the 2nd quarter to see what happens, if they can get a stop here and escape this drive after the short punt still tied, John Mish would take that without question.
1 quarter is in the books. Stevens Point from Wisconsin and Winona State knotted at 7 here on MSC.
Introducing the Polaris Sportsman 500 HO with a new high-output engine and 20% more power. The world's best-selling automatic ATV just got better.
Become a holiday angel at Oneida Casino. Bring your donation of non-perishable food items to Oneida Casino's main casino ball November 15th through December 17th. You'll help our hearts and receive a gift of thanks with every offering. Receive a Holiday Angel game card for a chance to win angel ornament, holiday videos, instant $500 cash prizes, or an entry into our second chance drawing, where 10 people will win $1,000 cash. Become a holiday angel and win through December 17th, only at Oneida Casino, Green Bay.
Operating under the influence has serious consequences for you and your family. Drunk driving is illegal and may result in jail time or even prison. Don't drink and drive.
Just a bit of magic. Oh, you gotta see it. So like the unexpected, perfectly perfected. Ahead of your head, I said, our stuff is what dreams are made of. Time to bring it on home.
Digital palm quarter with 3-way PC link from Panasonic. Just slightly ahead of our time.
Oh, just a bit of magic.
Distracted a bit by the defensive back coming back. Jonah Roth is trying to get back in coverage, and Lilla allowed that to distract him, but Nett delivered the football. It hit him right between the 1 and the 8. And Lilla's frustrated. He knows he should have made that catch. Winona State turns it over on downs, and the game remains tied.
That's a big play, as you mentioned, because now Stevens Point has a chance in pretty good field position, too, starting at their own 39. Kind of surprised they didn't look for something a little shorter on the flat to get the necessary yards. Handoff goes to Gast, gets around the outside. He's got a blocker and is breaking free. Gast down the sideline. No one will touch him. There isn't a flag down. Gast scores for Stevens Point. turning it on and outrunning the Winona State defenders. Those big, broad shoulders darting down the sideline for 6 points.
61 yards on the run by Gast. Pointers lead on that sweep with both running backs. Schmidt and Goodman each get a body on a Winona defender on the perimeter, and then Gast, I think the Winona defenders were surprised by his speed down that sideline. Travis Welsh was there, and I think he just misjudged how quickly Gast was going to get to the corner.
He got to the corner in a hurry. Let's take another look at it too and just watch the speed of Gast, the junior, who weighing in at 220 pounds.
See the two good blocks on the perimeter, and now you'll see Welch come into your picture. He just took a poor angle. I think he felt that he'd be able to catch up with Gast at about the 20-yard line, and instead Gast was by him, and Stevens Point is back in front by 7 after the 61-yard touchdown run.
It's a nice way to start the quarter. The defense makes a nice stop with a little good fortune of a dropped pass on 4th down for Winona State, and one play later with great field position, Stevens Point now puts 7 on the board to take a lead. We're a long way from being finished, though, as Winona State has shown some offensive flashes this year. There's the drive. 12 seconds. Again, not Olympic speed, but considering what he was able to do along that way and outrun those Winona State defenders, it was a nice, beautiful run by Gast. Now Stuke will kick it off. He kicks a short one, and it just goes just across the line to Bratz, who's able to fall on it, carry it forward a few yards. Bratz to the 42-yard line. It looks like they just purposely kicked it short. Maybe they just didn't want Curtin to have anything to do with that football.
They've clearly come into this game with the mindset not to let Curtin beat them on the special teams. I always felt that you essentially give up a 30-yard run back on every return by doing this anyway. What do you prevent? You prevent maybe the touchdown run back, which out of, say, 40 returns this year, he's run back 2 for scores. Doesn't show much faith in your special teams. And here, big sack inside once again. That Stevens Point front has been good all game. Paul Schmidt will come up with this sack and put Winona in a hole.
And net on play action just didn't have a lot of time. He would have had to deliver right away, but big defensive push and a big sack for Stevens Point. That touchdown obviously has inspired this entire team. 2nd and 15 now at the 37-yard line of Winona State. The Warriors and the Pointers doing battle here at the Metrodome. Glad you're along board for this border battle, day 2 of this us versus them theme series, which is in its 3rd year, I mean. Back to pass, net. Tipped away, bounces off a couple of defenders and falls incomplete.
Well, nice play by Heath Nowitzki, the middle linebacker. He gets back, gets his hand on the football. This ball was thrown fairly well by Net. He's just trying to float it in over the top of Nowitzki. If he gets it there, about another yard or 2, Curtin probably has a touchdown, but the ball was just slightly underthrown, and the big linebacker Nowitzki just able to get his paw on it. And then after the tip, it's nearly intercepted by Trunkle, who was beaten on the play. But Net read the defense right. He just threw the football a little bit short.
3rd and 15 now on their own 37. Net back to pass. Feeling some pressure. Inside screen. Delivers the ball to Curtin, but he can't escape. Brought down at the line of scrimmage or a short loss, which will bring up 4th down and 18 on their own 34.
He lost a couple. Dominic Litwin, the nose tackle, was there to make the play. He reads the screen well, and you can see that Net is waiting, trying to buy a little time, hoping that the Pointer defenders will buy into the pressure, but Litwin doesn't, and when he dumps it off on the screen, he makes the stop.
Low snap, but he gets it off. Ryan Walsh does. Back to get it at his own 25 is Josh Wilson, but he can't escape as he's brought down with a 1-yard gain. We'll continue with 2nd quarter action. Stevens Point and Winona battling in the border battle.
It's the fastest growing sport in the country. A sport defined by performance, determination, and teamwork. The pros know when conditions lean to the extreme, you gotta go with the performer. And the 66 team is driven to perform. To protect your engine start to finish, drive with Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Premium Quality Motor Oil.
Proof again that Phillips 66 is the performance company.
Light, airy bones of crispy corn. There's no such thing as too many bugles. Bugles, more is better.
Hey.
Hey.
The new Ford Focus. Great gas mileage, great price at your Northland Ford store.
Early in the second quarter, as you see, Stevens Point striking on a couple of quick plays. They, after a defensive stop, they get a nice touchdown run for 61 yards and go up to a 14-7 lead, and they have the football again at their own 18. 1st and 10, handoff inside, and Todd Goodman gets stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Trying to set up that cutback trap. They've run this a couple of times early and haven't had much success with it. This time it was Todd Batta making the stop for Winona State. Neither team has been able to establish the run inside, but each has had some success getting the football to the outside.
Let's look at Todd Batta, the big defensive stallions on this Warrior team. 2nd and 10 now on their own 18. Krause rolls out, looking for somebody. No one there, so he's going to keep it. He's thrown out of bounds. A flag down on the play, and while we figure that out, let's go down to field level and check in with Sarah Pierman. Sarah?
Thanks, Mike. I'm here with the commissioner of the WIAC, Gary Karner. Gary, let's just talk about how important it is. Here we are, WIAC, Division III, pitted against all these Minnesota Division II schools. Where does that put you, and how does it get you ready for postseason play and all those things?
Well, I think anytime you can play good competition, I think it helps your teams. And we're very fortunate that NSIC has agreed to do this event in the last couple of years. And it's great for our kids. It's great for our conference. I think it's great for both conferences. And I think it's great for the state of Wisconsin and the state of Minnesota to have these teams match up and all the interest it creates in both states. And it's just a wonderful event. Something our kids, quite frankly, will remember the rest of their lives.
And we talk about, we're here for football, but you talk about the strength of the Wisconsin Conference in all sports. It's your turn to brag a little bit.
Well, and I appreciate that. Not to sound arrogant or anything like that, but I think we feel that generally we're the strongest Division III conference in the country. And we may not have the best team in any given year in a particular sport, but from top to bottom, our conference is extremely strong. And we've won something like 22 national championships in the last 7 years, which is remarkable. But even more remarkable is we've done it in 13 different sports. So we spread it around a lot, and we're very competitive, and it's great for our conference, great for our state.
Well, thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you.
And back to you, Mike.
And on 2nd down and 18, Goodman with a short gain of 2 yards, bringing up 3rd and 16 at the Stevens Point 12-yard line.
What Gary Karner points out is exactly right. This is, I had a chance to cover MIAC football for years, and this league, top to bottom, is the best Division III league in the country. Here's a perfect example. You have your last place team going up against the conference champions in a Division II league, and they're leading, and certainly not by a fluke. This team could win this football game.
On 3rd down, the completion to Steve Jones out near a 1st down. In fact, he's got it as Jones gets open on the flat, and Krause puts it right in his hands. And here's another look at it. Again, just a nice offensive play with a perfect pass, and Krause puts it on the money, and Jones just falls down with it with just enough for the 1st down.
This league has always had trouble finding opponents, and in fact this year they had a couple of situations where they had to play a conference team in a non-conference game before the season just to fill their schedule, and this is why teams don't want to schedule them because of the strength. Here a 2-year alignment with the NSIC in this border battle, which has been very competitive, but even that you have to wonder if it does any good for a Division II conference trying to establish themselves as a national contender if they come in here and struggle with Division III opponents in the WIAC. That's difficult to overcome when you're trying to establish credibility compared to other Division II leagues in the country to get NCAA playoff consideration.
No question about it. It is one of the issues that was plaguing this arrangement in the first place and continues to. They have very little to gain, the Division II coaches do, in a series like this, other than pride, and possibly if they do win the series. In this case, if Winona wins, it might give them a tad bit of a recruiting edge because they recruit a lot of Wisconsin kids to Winona. But at the same time, it's really...
You should win. You're the Division II conference, and a lot of people will look at it and say, well, you should win. And that's why there isn't much to gain. But this WIAC league, I have always been amazed at the strength this league has from top to bottom, because you throw this Stevens Point team into, say, the MIAC, a comparable Division III league. This is an upper division team in that league, and yet they won 1 game in the WIAC this season.
It's numbers. There's so much numbers. Krause back to pass and runs out of the pocket on 3rd and 9 and able to get a short gain, not enough for the first down. There's so much tradition too in these WIAC schools, and the towns that they represent are so into their programs. It's such a it's really great to see these teams on Saturdays because everybody shows up to watch.
Krause here stopped short of the first down, and it's going to bring up a 4th and 5. Stevens Point will have to punt it away. They play a different brand of football in the WIAC, and a part of that is they allow redshirting. You compare that to the MIAC where they do not. That is why this Division III league is slightly different. You get a lot of 5th-year senior type players. That usually means more size. It many times means more numbers, and that's why I believe that there is that kind of a difference. You put the elite teams from the MIAC into this league, and they do very well, but you put some of the bottom teams in that conference, and that's where the difference is, and that's why this league, I still believe, is from top to bottom the best. Maybe their top teams, as Gary Karner mentioned, are not necessarily the best in the nation, but you put their bottom teams up against a bottom team from anywhere, and I'll bet on the WIAC.
Replay 4th down.
Well, they're going to replay this after offsetting penalties, and that's a break for Stevens Point because, again, the punt was short and Winona State was set to have field position out across their 40-yard line.
And the only problem with this is that if they do kick it deep, there's a guy named Curtin back there that will receive it. But with the offsetting penalties, they'll replay 4th down. Curtin will be standing at his own 30-yard line. Maney at his own 19, and Curtin has had a great bit of success. Now they drop back a second receiver for the kick as they bring back to help out. I knew I was going to have to get to this guy at some point.
Kamrathanomi.
Thank you for that. I'll do my best.
I guess you're going to get a shot right here because my guess is they kick to him. No, they go the other way.
Actually, the other way, and it's way out of bounds. And actually, Winona State worked out well for them on this this exchange because they'll get it at their own 48-yard line, 1st and 10. As we take a short pause, it's 14-7. Stevens Point leading, but Winona has the ball, and we'll come back with their offensive set with more here on MSC.
Get more out of life when you're reaching out. Gotta get things done, that's what it's all about. Yeah, working or playing, it's the power to do. It's how you live, and we'll be there for you. We bring the power to you every time. You've got the power of lion energy. We're on for you. We're all connected, you and me, we're all connected, like one big family, we're all connected, when people really care, with high tech and a loving touch, we're connected every
St. Joseph's Hospital and its medical staff in Marshfield were the first in the region to provide multiple bypass surgery. The first to use nuclear cardiac imaging. The first to have the latest cardiac laser technologies. The first to offer pediatric cardiac surgery. No wonder St. Joseph's Hospital is the regional heart center more people think of first.
We're all connected when people really care. To know and trust a helping hand will be there.
Ministry Healthcare, where caring makes the connection.
At the Metrodome, Winona bringing up lots of their fans. They've had a lot of people supporting this team down in the River Valley, and a lot of them made their way here to the Twin Cities to watch this border battle.
One of the best attendance teams in the NSIC and in Division II football.
Net takes the snap, and the handoff, and busting through is Jepson across the 40. And a gain of 13 and a big first down for Winona. Curtis Jepson, the freshman from Rochester Mayo High School, here showing some nifty moves inside.
Well, Winona State once again with good field position, but aside from their one scoring drive, this offense has gone nowhere. They've gone 3 and out 3 times, 4 and out another when they went for it on a 4th down and missed. Only 2 first downs. They came on back-to-back snaps prior to this drive.
Goes back to Jepson again on the delay, but he's unable to break free this time. Stopped at the line of scrimmage, and a big play there by
Nick Hafley, the freshman linebacker, came up to make the tackle. Boy, they tackle well.
Yeah, they do. Hafley also a freshman. Second and 10 now on the 37 of Stevens Point. With 7 minutes to go in this opening half. Back to pass is Net. Net connecting across and able to get the big first down as Lilla is free on the flat. And a big completion out to the 22-yard line.
Well, Lilla dropped one earlier that was right in his midsection. This one a much more difficult catch. And he shows why he's one of the leading receivers for Winona State. He caught 30 balls on the season. Add another for 16 and a first down at the 21-yard line.
Lilla has a catch in every game now that Winona has played this season, so he's always involved in the offense. There's the quick pitch to Curtin, trying to get outside, following his block, turns it upfield, and a swarm of tacklers bring him down for a short loss. Again, great defensive presence, the sense of that defensive line to string out that pitch.
Well, they get sideline to sideline very well. Jonah Roth is the man that eventually makes the stop, but you see there are Winona defenders all the way down, or excuse me, Stevens Point defenders all the way down that line of scrimmage. Travis Muldowney was really the man who disrupted it. He beat 2 blocks on the perimeter and forced Curtin all the way to the sideline, and then he had to turn the football up.
Maney also there making it difficult for Curtin to turn upfield. Bringing up 2nd and 12 on the 23. Net with the fake pitch and then the handoff inside. It works, busting through Jepson out to the 15-yard line and a gain of about 9.
Now they'll run this play quite often. They fake the outside look, come back with the trap, the counter inside. They're able to spring Jepson on that once earlier in the game. This time he had a little bit of trouble getting the handoff and had to wait for the trap block to get out of the way. After it did, he was able to fight forward and bring up a 3rd and short.
3rd and 4 at the 15-yard line. Net rolling out, looking, and able to just overthrow his receiver as he tries to find out on the flat. It was Brendan Bratz who couldn't bring it down because the pass was just a bit too strong.
Well, Dylan Maney was fooled on the play, the linebacker for Stevens Point. He started up the field guessing sweep, and you'll see Maney there scrambling to get back into coverage, and he couldn't get there in time, but Net just missed his man, and Winona State will have to settle for a field goal. And it's a good field goal kicker, 12 field goals on the year. He's already set a school record.
He's got a big leg. He had a couple of big field goals earlier this year at Northern State in the wind and the rain. And a low snap, gets it up and through is Opkin North puts 3 points on the board for Winona State. Unable to capitalize with the touchdown, but still they draw a bit closer now, trailing by 4 with 5:33 to go in this opening half.
Well, he's now hit 13 of them on the year, 13 out of 24. He's the leading scorer among kickers in the NSIC this year. Bangs it through with plenty of leg.
I was talking to Tom Sawyer before the game, and he feels very comfortable with his place kicker up to about 45 yards out, especially with this surface, with there being no wind and rain and all those other things that they have to deal with on most Saturdays in the NSIC.
Well, Winona State finally takes advantage of some good field position and puts points on the board. They trail by only 4.5, during which they have been thoroughly dominated by Stevens Point. Now this is how a team comes into a game like this, 1-8. They've dominated. They have proven that physically they can play with this Warrior team, but just have not been able to cash in, haven't been able to finish drives. They've missed a field goal, come up empty in Winona territory another time. And because of it, instead of a comfortable lead, they lead by only 4.
Kick deep into the end zone where Roth will just take a knee 1 yard deep and give his offense the football at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 with 5:25 to go in this opening half, with Stevens Point leading on the scoreboard, but feeling the threat now of Winona State. Reminder, we have plenty of football today, as the border battle is a 2-day affair here at the Dome. Krause throws it out on the flat, able to complete the pass. Out for a gain of about 4 as he's able to find Goodman. Actually, they'll mark it up to, he's able to dart up the sideline enough to make it about an 8-yard gain. 2nd and 2 at the 28.
This is an important drive for Stevens Point. If they can chew up a little clock and score again before the half, go a long way toward pulling off this upset, which would be a significant upset. The last place team in the WIAC against the first place team from the NSIC.
Wally Schmidt breaking through, darting free, avoiding a tackle, and lumbering out to the 45-yard line. 1st down and then some for Stevens Point. This is as we mentioned earlier, this is their final game. This is the seniors' last hurrah, and guys like Wally Schmidt, playing in their final collegiate football game, want to make the most out of each and every play, and nice little bit of running.
Last year, there was a little pressure on them here in the Metrodome because they were waiting to find out if they'd get a Division III at-large playoff spot, which they did wind up getting. This year, no such pressure, as they know that their season will end after this week, and that's why they've been able to loosen the reins on a regularly fairly conservative offense.
Krause there just follows his blockers for a short gain out to the 48-yard line. There you go, the little hesitation and then the surge forward following those big guys up front. 2nd and 7 at the 48. Back split behind Krause. 2 wide receivers, back to pass. It's on the flat. He's able to hit Wally Schmidt. He was immediately met by several Winona defenders and brought down after a gain of about 1.
Isom and Bata there defensively. Isom really a sure-handed tackler for this Winona State team. He several times has been left one-on-one against a receiver on the perimeter. Doesn't have huge tackle numbers for the season, but he has shown today that he has the ability to stop these receivers in very difficult situations.
3rd and 6 now on the 49, and Krause back to pass. He got his man across the middle, complete, as he's able to find the big tight end again, Zertler. Had a couple of big catches, and this one moves the stakes and puts him a little deeper into Winona territory.
Zertler had only 1 catch on the year coming into today's game. He has 2 for 40 yards today, and each time it has been for a big 1st down on a 3rd down play. Boy, he doesn't look like a receiver with only one catch. He bobbled the last one. This time he makes a nice diving catch and a first down at the 31.
Handoff to Schmidt. It gets outside, then turns it up after a gain of about 8. Finally stacked and brought to the turf. After a nice bit of blocking, sprung Wally Schmidt for a big gain on first down.
Nothing fancy. Just power football off the left side of the line. Pointers don't seem to believe in misdirection. They don't want to make any bones about it. They're coming right at you.
There's Schmidt again. They gets the handoff, or was that Goodman?
It's Goodman on the counter. Fake to Schmidt going the other way and come back with Goodman. And he has first down yardage at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, they do pull the counter as Krause puts it in the hands of Goodman, able to dart across for a nice little gain. First down, and at the 20-yard line, Stevens Point in business with 2:28 to go before our halftime break. Here's the handoff, and it goes wide. He's able to bust outside, is gassed.
Flag down on the perimeter, though. It's going to be an illegal block against Goodman, and it's going to bring this one back. Gast had good yardage up the left sideline, but he needed a illegal block from Goodman to spring him. Watch it. You may see it here. Well, you just see the tail end of it.
Goodman trying to do a little extra there. Probably wasn't necessary with a good head of steam. They'll back him up. They're a costly penalty now with 2:10 to go in the opening half. March off those yards back out to the 29.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Be first and very long for Stevens Point.
19. Call it 20. Short 20. First and 20 on the 30. And Krause back to pass. Enough time to let it go. Oh, it's in the hands of Goodman, who just can't quite bring it in, as he had the football within reach but couldn't quite grasp it.
Krause had his man, but he didn't have time to wait for the pattern to develop. John Buswitz came through and disrupted the play early. Watch Buswitz. He'll come from the top of the screen. Actually, the first man there is Ty Breitlow. Buswitz was also in on the pressure, but it was Breitlow that got there first, and that forced Krause to throw this ball just a split second earlier than he would have liked. If he'd have been able to wait for the pattern, I think he has a touchdown.
Second and 20 now as Krause rolls out. He's looking. Now he decides to keep it. Crosses the 20-yard line. Still going, and knocked out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Some nifty footwork by Krause, who saw no one open, so kept it himself. Looked like he was going to be pushed out of bounds at the 20, but darted down the line for another 7 or 8 yards.
And it turns it into a 3rd and 1. Krause, not a big runner on the season for Stevens Point, but he has shown a couple of times today the ability to tuck it down and run when he has to. One good move right there as he crossed the line of scrimmage. Beat Brent Thone. And now the Pointers with a chance to extend the drive. They've been very good on 3rd downs in the game. And that's why they've been able to maintain possession as they have. They've controlled the football, the clock, and the momentum here in the first half.
All wide receivers, and Krause keeps it himself, darts up the middle near the touchdown.
They give it to him.
They
Touchdown.
give it to him. Krause had nobody behind him, nobody in the backfield, so he staggered on the, and then just darted upfield and was able to just barely break the plane for the touchdown.
Well, I mentioned before the drive started that if Stevens Point could take this one downfield, chew up some clock, and score before the half, that it would be a huge momentum burst. I think this is exactly what they had in mind. 80 yards, most of it on the ground, and they will extend their lead to 11 before halftime.
1:49 on the clock. Let's watch it again and see if his knee comes down, Anthony, before he breaks the plane.
Well, the knee clearly goes down at about the 1.5, 2 yard line, but it's where the ball is when the knee goes down that is the question. There, it's down, and well, he's lunging.
I'd give it to him.
I think he's about a half yard to maybe a yard short because he just starts to put the ball out. No, he's short.
Yeah, he should have been short, but we'll give it to him on effort.
Closer than it appears, however, because you watch where the knee goes down, and the first instinct is to say that he's nowhere close. He was in the process of stretching the football out, and the difference is it would have been first down, goal to go from inside the 1 yard line, and it might actually be an edge. There, the knees down. Yeah. Boy, he's within a half yard. Yeah. And the difference might actually be an edge for Winona, because if they spot him at the half yard line and you figure that Stevens Point eventually is going to score, it might give Winona the ball with a minute or 45 seconds if it took them 2 snaps to get in. Instead, Winona State will get it with plenty of time if they can find the football on the kickoff. Oh. Dobberden back all the way to his 6 to pick it up.
Yeah, and Dobberden can't get free as Stevens Point kicks it low and bouncy, and it just continues to bounce right past Winona, back where Dobberden does the retrieval, picks it up at his own 15 and can't find anything with it. He's back inside his own 10-yard line.
Well, a very impressive march by Stevens Point. Took them 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go 80 yards, dozen plays. And now, if you're Winona State,
be careful.
You have to be careful, but you can't be overly conservative because Stevens Point has 3 timeouts remaining. If they sense that you're content here, they'll call timeout, force you to punt it out of your end zone.
They hand it off inside. They take the safe route on 1st and 10 from their own 4.
Now, I call timeout if I'm the Pointers, and they do. They get the timeout with 1:37 remaining. Why not? If you can force Winona State to punt it out of the end zone, you may have a chance to make something happen on the special teams and possibly score again before the break.
That's what John Mish is thinking about as we look at him here, because he knows that if Winona has that ability to score quickly, either on kick returns, punt returns, or through the air, and if he can get himself some more points, even if it's 3 before halftime, he's going to be in great shape. Again, 1:37 on the clock before halftime in this border battle. Wisconsin-Stevens Point with the 21-10 lead on the NSIC champions, the Winona State Warriors, who are off to play in the Mineral Water Bowl this year on December 2nd in Excelsior Springs, Missouri.
Well, this is an impressive performance by Stevens Point. Now, we talked about in the open that this team was better than a 1-8 team. They were in the playoffs a year ago, and you start to compare some scores, and yes, they took Northern State to overtime. Winona beat Northern State in overtime, but on the other hand, this Winona team beat La Crosse, who finished 2nd in the WIAC, beat them handily this season, 27-9. So you wouldn't have expected, I don't think, that Winona State would have this much trouble, and here nearly an interception. That is really, now this puts Winona in a tough spot. A minute and a half to go. They didn't force Stevens Point to use another timeout. If they throw incomplete again, the Pointers are going to get the football with 90 seconds and 2 timeouts. If you run into the line, what you do then is you force your punter almost certainly to punt out of his end zone. You do force Stevens Point to burn a timeout, but then you risk kicking it from deep in your own territory. So everything going right for Stevens Point on this possession for Winona.
You saw John Tanner, the freshman receiver, just seemed to lose where the ball was in the air, and Dylan Maney had a chance to catch it, but as you saw in that replay, it took a little turf bounce before he was able to wrap it up. 3rd and 9 on the 5 for Winona State. Back to pass is Net looking, able to find Lilla, who flips it on the hook and ladder and darting down the sideline, trying to get something as Vasquez. He gets the first down, and that's important for Winona State because with 1:19 now they get a fresh set of downs, and suddenly Stevens Point isn't thinking about points so much now before the end of the half.
So what of a gutsy call by Winona State deep in your own territory. First of all, you send your freshman quarterback into his own end zone to throw the football, and then you lateral the ball inside your own 10-yard line.
Net now, back now, Winona's thinking points and completes it out again to Lilla. Tries to do a little juke move at his own 40 and gets an extra yard out to the 41. And again, now with 1:03 on the clock, they stopped the clock to move the chains. Winona with a chance to maybe get some points on the board. They have 2 timeouts left as the clock is now winding down with a minute. Net, back to pass, completes to Dauberton. Dauberton shakes one tackle out across the 40 of Stevens Point to the 38.
21 yards to the leading receiver, his first catch of the day. And this Winona offense, which has been able to move the football through the air all year, does it again right here.
Dauberton has 4 100-yard receiving games this year already and over 1,000 career receiving yards. He's been a fixture. And then now suddenly from being cautious about giving up some additional points to Stevens Point, now Winona's thinking touchdown or at least field goal before the break.
Now they should be. And they need to. And I don't think that at this point Tom Sawyer is real happy with the way his team has played, but yet their ability to make the big play has them on the verge of getting back in the game. They haven't moved the ball at all in this first half. The only scoring drives were after the long kick return by Curtin that then led to the 2-play 35-yard scoring drive. The field goal that got them to within 14-10 was set up by a 16-yard punt for Stevens Point that gave Winona the ball at their 48-yard line. Their drive was only 37 yards. But now all of a sudden here they are with the ability to get the ball in the air, get it in the hands of these receivers that can make things happen, and if they get a touchdown here, they get to the locker room down only 3 or 4 points.
Reminder, at the end of halftime, we'll send it down to Sarah Pearman with the head coach of the Stevens Point Pointers, John Mish, and we'll find out his thoughts on the first half. And
dead ball, offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And if Sarah asks him about that play, he won't be very happy. There's a look at John Mish as that makes it a short 1st and 5 now with 52 seconds on the clock. Let's take another as we continue now on 1st and 5 again on the 33-yard line. Andy Nett, the freshman quarterback, back to pass. He's looking, flags are down again. He lets loose to Tanner, and it's in the end zone, intercepted in the end zone.
Great play by Dylan Maney. The flag is going to go against Winona. Dauberton moved early from the slot on the top of your screen on the right-hand side. And Stevens Point will decline this penalty after the interception in the end zone by Dylan Maney.
Illegal motion on the offense. Penalties declined. Interception, 1st and 10, Stevens Point.
Second interception of the year for Maney. He nearly had one earlier on the drive when he trapped it, but here he comes up with the interception in the end zone as the freshman quarterback Andy Nett tried to throw into double coverage. And Maney goes up to make the play.
Maney just had position. Comes down with the big interception now with 43 seconds on the clock in this ping pong final 2 minutes of the first half. Let's see what Stevens Point decides to do. Yeah, they'll take a knee and the clock will tick down. And Sarah Pearman will be able to talk to John Mish about a lot of things, including a big defensive stop late in this first half led by Dylan Maney.
Well, I think his defense has really risen up here in this game against a Winona State offense that didn't put up the explosive numbers that a Northern State or a Bemidji State did this year, but they certainly have guys who can make big plays. The Pointers are a physical, somewhat of a plodding defense, but they have handled the speed and quickness of this Winona State offense, the multiple looks that they will show you very well, and they certainly have not played like the team that is mailing it in to put the wraps on what had been, to say the very least, a frustrating season to this point. They played like a team that is preparing for a playoff berth. John Mish, I think, has to be credited for getting a team ready to play at a time of the season where it's tough to keep the attention of your players at times. When you're 1-8, they can all read the paper. They all know that obviously there's no chance. They're not going anywhere. They know that they've been knocked around a few times this season, but John Mish has done a great job, and we'll send it down to Sarah Pearman to see what Coach Mish has in mind for the second half. Sarah.
Thanks, Mike. I'm here with, like you said, head coach John Mish. Let's talk a little bit about the quarterback, Scott Crosby. What a great game he's having.
Well, he's a gamer, and he's just doing a great job for us. Our team, I got a young football team. We're going against the Northern Sun champion. We're just letting it all hang out. If we have any special plays in our playbook, they've been run and are going to be run second half.
Now, Coach, we talk about the conference playing, and 1-8 in the conference. How big? A lot of people are saying that this is a bowl game for you guys to get momentum for next year.
Well, we also last 2 years won the conference championship. We had 2 great senior classes. Those guys are gone, and we've had a lot of unexperienced kids playing this year in our conference, which is tough. I'm just happy that they came here to play, and it shows what type of character we have as a football team. We're 1-8 going against a team that's going against a bowl game, and right now at halftime we're ahead.
Well, thanks, Coach, very much for your time, and best of luck here in the second half.
Well, thank you, and good luck to those Lady Pointers out in Maryland. My wife's the coach, and I hope they win today. Thank you.
Talking about the soccer team, we'll be back with more MSC football in just a moment with more halftime.
Introducing the Polaris Sportsman 500 HO with a new high-output engine and 20% more power. The world's best-selling automatic ATV just got better.
Integrity, innovation, accountability, and community commitment. That's how Touchstone Energy Cooperatives bring customers, large and small, quality state-of-the-art technology at affordable rates. Touchstone Energy Cooperatives already serve millions of businesses and homes all across America. We're the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives of Minnesota and Wisconsin, bringing you the power of human connections.
We're all connected, you and me. We're all connected, like one big family. We're all connected, when people really care, with high tech and a loving touch. We're connected everywhere.
St. Joseph's Hospital and its medical staff in Marshfield were the first in the region to provide multiple bypass surgery. The first to use nuclear cardiac imaging. The first to have the latest cardiac laser technologies. The first to offer pediatric cardiac surgery. No wonder St. Joseph's Hospital is the regional heart center more people think of first.
We're all connected when people really care. To know and trust the helping hand will be there.
Ministry Healthcare, where caring makes the connection.
Welcome back inside the Metrodome. We're joined now by Wisconsin Stout head coach Ed Meyercord. And Ed, maybe certainly the biggest story in the WIAC this year was the turnaround of your program. Congratulations on the conference championship, and now your team gets ready for the playoffs. Quite a season for a team that last year won one conference game.
You know, it's been an amazing turnaround. Our kids have been really resilient. You know, starting with Aaron going down in the car accident. We had some tough hands dealt to us early, but our guys have been amazingly strong mentally, and that's a tribute to our seniors and our coaching staff that has really brought them along.
Now, you won just one game last year, but not only that, you were picked to finish last this year. What has happened that has turned this thing around?
At our level, I don't think the media really understands, you know, what you have coming back. And we lost.
That might be true at any level.
Yeah, we lost a lot of tight games last year and brought up great nucleus back defensively. We needed a change. We were throwing the ball around a little too much without the horses that we had 2 or 3 years ago when we were leading the nation in total offense. So we changed our mindset, ran the ball better, got a little more time of possession, kind of took a note from UW River Falls, UW Whitewater on how to control games, and it's worked out for us.
Now, the Wisconsin League over the last couple of years has really become more and more balanced. There aren't the big horses at the top that we saw through the early 90s with La Crosse and River Falls seemingly battling every year. You look at last year, and as an example, La Crosse wins the league title. Stevens Point got into the playoffs as well. 2 teams that easily could have been 3 and 4 and instead were at the top.
Yeah, you know, and there's a lot of different reasons. Obviously, some new flux of talent into the other schools. I really think the 100-person rule, where you're capped at 100 players, is helped some of the schools that hadn't been up there for a while, and obviously us being one of them, and we're really excited about it.
And now you're looking forward because under the current NCAA playoff alignment, you know you have an automatic bid. There's no waiting for the seating committee. You do want to see where you're going to be seated, but there isn't waiting to see if you get in. That has to make this final week a lot more relaxing to know that that playoff spot's in hand and you can just go out and concentrate on a football game this week.
You know, it is a little more relaxing, but then again, you still have to prepare for a really good UMD team, and Bob does a great job up there. We want to play well Saturday night because it's important for us to get springboard into the playoffs. We feel that this will emulate a playoff game. Not a lot of rivalry because we don't know much about them. Neutral site. That's a lot what NCAA playoffs are all about.
You start to look at the teams that are in this West region for the playoffs, and you have a team like Pacific Lutheran that won it all last year. Central of Iowa has been there many, many times. St. John's may get in as an at-large. They've obviously been there many times. Stout's kind of the new kid on the block. What does that mean, and what do your players think of that? Is that going to be a factor going into the playoffs?
Well, you know, our kids they're new to it. Everybody knows Pac Lutheran. Obviously, Central Iowa is strong, and, you know, St. John's. And we talked about the other day, if we won 30 games for the next 10 years, or 10 games for the next 30 years, we might tie them. John Gaggs has done such a great job over there, and we're just excited to be in the playoffs. I think that'll help us. You know, we'll be a little wide-eyed. Some of these teams have been in it year in and year out. We don't know what to expect. We're going to play hard. The WIC has prepared us amazingly for this game because every week you got a chance to get knocked off.
Go ahead. Congratulations on the remarkable season. Best of luck.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Said Meyer Court, the head coach at Wisconsin Stout. They're on their way to the playoffs. We'll be back with more. Halftime for the Metrodome continues on MSC.
Hi, I'm Evan. Try some bruschetta? It's great.
No, thanks. When I want good pizza, I go out.
I'll take you out.
Be gentle. Be gentle.
Hush up. You're making my ankles swell.
Have a nice day.
If you think you gotta go out for great pizza, you'd never try Bruschetta.
There, you're out. Bruschetta?
It's got a self-rising crust and fresh out of the pizza oven taste.
This is great.
Try Bruschetta. It's better.
Bruschetta?
No, I go out for pizza.
I'm getting too old for this.
U.S. Bank makes getting a home equity loan fast and simple. Qualifying by phone takes as little as 10 minutes. There are no closing costs, fees, or points, and you'll like the low rates and low monthly payments. A home equity loan from U.S. Bank. It's a wonderful tool for saving time and saving money. Call and apply now.
Farming is hard work, long hours, and a bit unpredictable. But today, producers are putting together a cooperative system that's helping them reduce risk and get more from everything they produce, making it a little easier for them to greet each new day with confidence. Cenex Harvest states, we grow value.
Dude.
Dude?
Dude?
Dude.
Dude.
Dudes.
Dude.
The new Ford Focus. Smooth ride, smooth price at your Northland Ford store.
At halftime, Mike Woodley along with Anthony LaPanta in this border battle. Wisconsin-Stevens Point taking on Winona. And let's look at the highlights in this first half and show you what happened so far, Anthony.
Well, Stevens Point got off to a good start. They jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Then Winona State answered on this touchdown pass from net to Ben Vasquez. Beat his man to the corner, and the game was tied at 7. But Stevens Point came right back, and it took them just one play to answer. Lance Gass takes this one, sweeps around the end, gets a good block from Wally Schmidt on the perimeter, and he goes untouched up the sideline, 61 yards for the score, and Stevens Point was back in front, 14-7. After a Winona field goal cut it to 14-10, Stevens Point was on the march again, and this was a very impressive drive late in the half. They went 80 yards in 11 plays, Krause going the final 11 and diving over for the touchdown. Stevens Point leads at 21-10 at the break. They got a big interception from Dylan Maney in the end zone on the last drive for Winona State. This is about as good a half of football as Stevens Point has played this year.
And Stevens Point has let it all hang out, as their coach John Mish said at the end of the halftime, so it should be a fun second half.
We'll have statistics next when the halftime show continues on MSC.
The University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point changes lives. Students choose the Stevens Point campus for its beautiful and convenient central Wisconsin location. We offer personal attention and a commitment to the liberal arts. With a focus on wellness, environmental awareness, and leadership, our 4 nationally acclaimed colleges prepare graduates for careers in a wide variety of academic programs. At the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, we change lives.
Patty Melt, Baker's Man. Make a pair of Patty Melts fresh as you can. San Francisco sourdough, Milwaukee rye, Culver's Patty Melt satisfy. Patty Melt custard malt, Culver's guy. Make a custard malt, liquefy. Have a malt with sourdough, have a malt with Swiss. Nobody makes fresh taste so delish. Patty Melt, custard malt, Culver's, man. Make a pair of Patty Melts, no one else can.
Light, airy cones of crispy corn. There's no such thing as too many bugles. Bugles, more is better.
Winona State, your 4-year state university in southeastern Minnesota. Winona State offers education on the cutting edge with our implementation of the Laptop University program, a new state-of-the-art library media center, and a 4-year graduation guarantee. Named as one of the 100 best college buys for 3 years in a row, Winona State also offers students smaller class sizes by qualified instructors. For an education you will use for the rest of your life, visit Winona State University.
Welcome back at halftime. I'm Sarah Pierman, and I'm here with head coach Tom Sawyer from Winona State. Simple question, down 21-10, what adjustments do you need to make?
Well, we just really need to execute on offense. We had a couple balls, we had receivers behind their defense, and our quarterback just didn't make the hit. He's a kid that's been there all year for us. We execute a few of those big plays that we need in our offense and get our ground game going. I think we'll be fine in the second half.
Well, thank you. I know you got to run and finish the rest of the game, so I appreciate your time.
No problem.
And we'll be back with more MSC football in just a moment.
Introducing the Polaris Sportsman 500 HO with a new high-output engine and 20% more power. The world's best-selling automatic ATV just got better.
Years before America's electric cooperatives forged the nationwide alliance, Touchstone Energy, neighbors built their own electric utility to power lives and communities. Now Touchstone Energy cooperatives serve millions of homes and businesses. Customers large and small get state-of-the-art technology and affordable service. From the one-room schoolhouse to the communities and businesses of tomorrow, trust Touchstone Energy, the power of human connections. We're the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives of Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Become a holiday angel at Oneida Casino. Bring your donation of non-perishable food items to Oneida Casino's main casino ball November 15th through December 17th. You'll help warm hearts and receive a gift of thanks with every offering. Receive a Holiday Angel game card for a chance to win angel ornaments, holiday videos, instant $500 cash prizes, or an entry into our second chance drawing, where 10 people will win $1,000 cash. Become a holiday angel and win through December 17th, only at Oneida Casino, Green Bay.
MSCSports.com answers to a world of questions.
Halftime at the Metrodome. Mike Woodley along with Anthony LaPanta. And down at field level, as we heard from before, Sarah Pierman is with us as Wisconsin Stevens Point carries a 21-10 lead over the NSIC champions Winona State in this border battle. There's a look at Kevin Curtin. He's deep. He's the big threat. He's already had 2 return for touchdowns, kick returns for touchdowns of 100 yards this season. And he's standing at his 15. It would only be 85 if he's so fortunate. They kick away from him, though. And on the short pickup is Alan Hartung, who rattles it off to the 37-yard line, where it's 1st and 10 for Winona.
First half numbers favoring Stevens Point here this afternoon, and that's no surprise because of the fact that they lead by 11. 311 yards in the first half alone for Stevens Point. This is an offense that this season averaged 277 yards a game. Held the football for nearly 18.5 minutes. Very dominating first half for the Pointers.
On first down, Net gives it on the counter, battling across to the 45-yard line. To work his way through is Jebsen as they bring the pile up. Gain of 4 yards on first down. It's 2nd and 6. Yeah, this young team for Stevens Point seemed to coming together and gelling here in this final game. John Tisch was beside himself at halftime, feeling very happy with the way his team has played in this opening half.
Well, they were able to control the Winona running attack. Only 29 yards rushing in that first half for Winona State. Same play, same result.
Gain of about 3 yards this time to Jebsen on the counter, and bringing up 3rd and a short 3 at the 48-yard line.
You heard Tom Sawyer say that we need to hit on a big play, we need to convert, but we have to establish the running game. And you can see here on the first 2 snaps that that's what they are determined to do, is establish the fact that they can run against this Stevens Point defense, because they have not shown that ability thus far in the game.
On 3rd and 3, Net back to pass across the, but dropped. It looked like it was complete to Dobberden, but Dobberden was worried about where he was running before he brought it in, and that's a tough break for Winona when they had the first down and then some, and now it's 4th down.
Well, you can't deliver it in a better spot. Net's numbers very underwhelming thus far in the game. 10 out of 18, 108 yards. But he has had a couple that should have been caught that could have gone for big plays, including that one that have been dropped.
Walsh on the punt. Fair catch call by Wilson, who bobbles it but hangs on at the 21-yard line. Stevens Point comes out with the football here early 3rd quarter. It's the border battle on MSC.
Patty Melt, Baker's Man. Make a pair of Patty Melts fresh as you can. San Francisco sourdough, Milwaukee rye, Culver's Patty Melt satisfy. Patty Melt custard malt, Culver's guy. Make a custard malt, liquefy. Have a malt with sourdough, have a malt with Swiss. Nobody makes fresh taste so delish. Patty Melt, custard malt, Culver's, man. Make a pair of Patty Melts no one else can.
People from many different places and many different walks of life share something in common. They put their trust in American Family Insurance, some for as long as 3 generations. It's knowing that there's always a friendly American Family agent nearby, an agent who not only understands their needs, but also is at their side when they've had a loss. American Family, all your protection under one roof.
American Family Insurance.
Get more out of life when you're reaching out. Gotta get things done, that's what it's all about. Yeah, working or playing, it's the power to do. It's how you live, and we'll be there for you. We bring the power to you every time. You've got the power of lion energy. We're on for you.
Some young football fans right here taking in the game. It's with the border battle. Look at that smiling kid.
Must be a Pointer fan.
I would think so. First down and 10 at the 22 for Krause and Stevens Point as they lead 21-10 early third quarter of this border battle. Krause rolling out, looking downfield, taking his time, tucks it under his shoulder, keeps it, gets the first down and rumbles out to the 36 where he's marked out of bounds, and a first down, Stevens Point.
And he's upset because he thought he had a chance for a real big play. If he eludes one man on the perimeter, he probably does. See Wally Schmidt, he elects to allow the one defender by him, thinking he can do more damage downfield, and Krause's just tripped up on an ankle tackle from behind.
Krause's dad is Larry Krause, who played halfback for the Green Bay Packers, so that running ability is certainly passed along in the lineage. Here's Krause this time handing off to Schmidt, who rumbles forward across the 40 for a gain of about 5. In fact, Larry's here today. I know Larry and his wife made the trek in to watch his son play football.
Well, they have to be excited about the way that the Stevens Point offense has played today. A season of frustrations can be forgotten at least for an hour here in the second half.
Do great things towards next year as well. Krause rolling out and looking deep. He's got his guy, but it's tipped away at the last minute as he's looking for Steve Jones, but just not quite enough height on it. And Winona reacts very well in the secondary.
Well, Isom was beaten badly on the play, and the ball was underthrown. If this ball is on target, Jones has an easy touchdown. You see Isom, he bites on the out fake. Jones is all alone, but the ball just floats a little bit, and Isom's able to recover. Jones was, even at the end of the play there, is still 2 steps behind him. He was 3 or 4 steps behind him when the ball was thrown, but had to slow down, and Isom gets a big break, as he could have been torched for 6.
Third down now and 5 at the 41. Back split behind Krause, who's rolling out again. Decides to, well, now he dumps it off on the sideline out of bounds, incomplete. And he'll bring up 4th down. Nothing really going there as Krause was trying to find the man. Just Nick Naring trying to get open on the sideline, but as you can see here, there's really nothing cooking.
Krause bides as much time as he can, and then eventually tries to force one into Jones in double coverage. Threw it to the outside of the field, which if you're going to try to force something, that's the way to do it. Make sure that if it isn't caught, it results in an incompletion out of bounds. But he gave that play as much time as he possibly could to develop, and it just wasn't there.
Back to punt now is Dylan Maney, also a big defensive player for Stevens Point. And back to receive it, standing at his own 26-yard line. There he is, the very crafty, speedy Kevin Curtin. Curtin already has had one big run back, and Winona State would like to have another. They're coming.
Almost got it.
Just getting it off is Maney, but he kicks it out of bounds. And good field position for Winona State, who could use some points right now as they trail in this border battle, 21-10, with 12:21 to go in the third quarter here at the Metrodome.
Boy, Maney has had a real tough day punting the football. He's averaged under 24 yards a kick. This one only an 18-yard punt. And Winona State has excellent field position again.
He's trying to keep it away from Curtin, but by kicking it out of bounds and giving him this field position, you'd be better off rolling the dice and letting him have a shot at a run back. 1st and 10, net with the fake, and then dishes it in there to Walsh, who's able to get 5 yards on the carry on 1st down. Again, Andy Nett is a great story. Started this season 3rd at quarterback and worked his way up to the starting spot.
Well, a couple of injuries gave him the opportunity, and he has certainly taken advantage of it. There was some thought that the number 2 guy, Bruce Carpenter, might be able to play today, but he's on the sidelines not dressed in pads, so he will not be available should anything go wrong with Andy Nett.
And there's the handoff to Curtin, very near a first down. Looks like it might be just a tad bit short, bringing up third and short at the 48. Yeah, Carpenter was the starting quarterback, and then there was some thought that maybe Nett would be third, but he's worked his way up.
Jamie Kaler was the starter. He got hurt.
That's true.
Then Carpenter came in. He got hurt. Nett became the starting quarterback. Carpenter they thought might be back, but he is still not dressed. Kaler also on the sideline in street clothes. And Winona State last year, when they had an injury and Carpenter got the opportunity to play as a freshman, he played very well. Now this year it's Nett stepping in. I talked about the youth on this offense earlier in the game. Curtin a freshman, Domerton a sophomore, Nett a freshman. This team is very young at the skill positions. They figure to be at or near the top in the NSIC for a couple of years.
Third and just a skosh. Real short yardage. They give the ball to Jepson, who bullies his way out to the 45, and more than enough for a first down, and they move the stakes.
How many inches in a skosh?
I don't know. It wasn't enough to say a yard, and I didn't want to be technical and call it a foot because I didn't think it was a foot either. Inches is a cop-out. I guess a skosh is a bit of a cop-out too. Andy Nett, also a basketball player. He's waiting for as soon as his football season ends, which will take some time now. He's going to join that Winona State basketball team as a point guard. Pretty good basketball player too. Nett back to pass. Looking, has time. Completes the pass out on the side to Doberton. Doberton gets knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Let's go down to field level now and go to Sarah Pearman with the commissioner, the head honcho of the NSIC, Mike Lockram. Sarah?
Thanks, Mike. As you said, I'm here with the new commissioner of the Northern Sun. Mike, let's talk a little bit about how important it is that Winona State is going to a bowl game this year for this conference.
You know, this is a tremendous year for our league, and because we're able to send a team to Mineral Water Bowl in Elsier Springs, Missouri, you know, for years we've kind of been on the outside looking in for the NCAA playoffs, and now unquestionably we have something to play for. And so for us to go down there and play a team out of the MIAA, which normally gets 2-3 teams in the NCAA playoffs, if we go down there and win that football game, that adds more credibility to our conference and is another step in us being able to compete better in this region.
And you all talk about the conference and how strong it's getting. Traditionally, Winona State, Bemidji. Now you look at, and even before that, it was University of Middle Duluth. They almost knocked the game away from Winona State the other night. How is this conference getting stronger and stronger?
We're getting more parity, top to bottom, we're getting a lot better. And I've been telling people this fall that I think that's the first step in us being more competitive in this region is the parity that we have. If you look at Winona State, their only conference loss this year was to the team that finished 6th in our league. And you know, that kind of parity is very important because now the student athletes in our conference every week, they have to go out and strap their helmets on and come ready to play. And once you get to that point, you go on to a bowl game, you beat a very credible team out of a very good conference. That's even going to make you stronger in this region. And we'll keep plugging away. We are going to keep working hard at trying to get a team into the NCAAs. And, you know, we don't have as far to go as we used to. And it's an exciting time right now for our league.
Well, thanks, Mike. And back up to you guys upstairs.
And after the completion to Brendan Bratz, the senior tight end, and then the 6-yard run, they're now at 2nd and 4 on the 12-yard line for Winona State, trying to get some points here as we have 9:52 to go in this third quarter. 2nd and 4 on the 12. Andy Nett fakes the pitch, then hands off inside to Walsh, who rumbles across the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
Well, they set it up on the previous play when they did run the pitch to the outside to Kevin Curtin. Here they gave the same look to the opposite side, faked the pitch, came back inside on the trap, and Walsh breaks a couple of tackles and winds up in the end zone.
For Walsh, that's sweet justice too, as he's not the feature back as he was a year ago, as certainly coming on the scene, Kevin Curtin has been receiving a lot of the action. But for the junior who lives right down there by Winona and Elgin to get that touchdown, and that family so entrenched in Winona State football, it's a big, big play for him. Now they go for 2 points, and rolling out is Nett. Looking, completes the pass to Lilla for the 2-point conversion. And now Winona State draws within 3 of Stevens Point. Things are picking up here in the third quarter. We'll continue with the border battle here on MSC.
Tools give you the edge, the upper hand. Financial tools from U.S. Bank are no exception. They simplify a complicated job. Over time, they make you wonder how you ever got along without them. For every person, for every financial need, we have a tool. Your needs, our tools. U.S. Bank.
Farming is hard work, long hours, and a bit unpredictable. But today, producers are putting together a cooperative system that's helping them reduce risk and get more from everything they produce, making it a little easier for them to greet each new day with confidence. Cenex Harvest states, we grow value.
From the very beginning, he was so committed. He stuck with it. He never lost sight of his goal. The hard work and determination paid off.
Phillips 66 is proud to be a title sponsor of the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. We know performance starts with commitment.
The NSIC WIAC Border Battle on MSC is brought to you by Touchstone Energy. And here, Winona State is right back in the game. After a touchdown and a two-point conversion, they trail by only a field goal early third quarter.
The kick is deep at the 5-yard line. That's Jonah Roth out to the 20 and then brought down in a hurry by a host of Winona players.
Another look at the touchdown. Now, Winona has shown this look so many times, the pitch or the fake pitch to the outside, and then just come back up hard inside with the physical Ryan Walsh, who barrels into the end zone, his 5th touchdown of the year. An impressive drive for Winona State. They go 57 yards in 7 plays. Now a key possession for Stevens Point. This is probably the drive that will determine whether or not the Pointers can hang on and pull off this upset.
Krause with the handoff to Gast. Not much going on first down. Anyways, we heard from the coach, he's not afraid to open up the playbook and then some. So we may see some trickery. We may see some razzle-dazzle. We already seen the hook and ladder today. And one thing that they're going to leave nothing untried here in this second half. This is going to be a fun half for Stevens Point. But again, with that precarious 3-point lead, it would behoove them to get something, or at least to establish a drive here and keep Winona's offense off the field. Now we try the option pass, and looking downfield, Gast tries to complete it, but unable to find Levi Massey. A little bit of razzle-dazzle there. Again, Winona had it pretty much sniffed out at the same time.
Travis Welsh was there defensively for Winona State. He actually had the best chance to catch the ball. The pitch and the pass didn't fool anybody. Gast got it out there nicely, but it was well covered.
He threw that ball pretty well. You'd expect a shot put type pass from a guy like Gast with his size and those big shoulder pads, but he put it on the money, but again, well covered. 3rd and 9 on the 22 for Stevens Point. Krause back to pass, swings back across, finds his tight end, Zittler, who then gets brought down immediately as it was sniffed well by the Winona defense.
Gavin Thompson in the backfield again. He's had a strong afternoon for Winona State and a big defensive series for the Warriors. Now the Pointers will have to kick it. Kicking game has been horrible this afternoon, and Winona State will get good field position and a chance to turn the tide and take the lead for the first time.
And there he is, Kevin Curtin, waiting for it at his own 47-yard line. Regardless, Winona should get great position, gets the kick off. Again, another line driver. Curtin will have a shot. He's got it at his 50, makes a juke, heads to the outside, crosses the 40, then brought down at the 39 of Stevens Point. Curtin able to bring that one back for an additional 11 yards after the catch, and Winona in very good field position with 7:53 to go in the third quarter, and the Warriors trailing the Pointers by 3.
But a flag down back behind the play, and I believe we may have had a running into the kicker penalty. The fact that they're conferring with the Pointer captains means that it's likely just the 5-yard variety rather than the 15.
It was 4th and 11 at the time.
And the kicker clearly was hit, but it looks as though this is just a 5-yard penalty. It still appears that the Pointers will kick it again. They net 20 on the previous.
Running into the kicker on the defense, 5-yard penalty, replay 4th down.
Again, there was some contact, nothing flagrant, nothing that was out of line or any signs of aggression, just a bunch of Winona players trying to hustle to a kicker and bumping into him after he got it away. So they'll do it again. Dylan Maney standing at his own 10-yard line. He's a big defensive player. I'm sure that would take a lot to hurt him anyway. And Curtin now standing at his own 44, waiting the punt. Just barely getting it off as Maney is feeling the pressure. Curtin will fair catch the ball at his own 49.
Well, the penalty nets about 10 yards of field position. Still excellent starting point for the Winona offense. They'll start right at midfield. Boy, you get the feel like this game is hanging in the balance here in these 2 or 3 minutes. If Winona State can put together a drive like they did the last time they touched it, it might deflate this Pointer team that has played so well for the first 37 minutes of the game.
Now Net lines his team up 1st and 10 at the midfield stripe. Again, trailing by 3 points. Net with the fake pitch, then the handoff to Jepson. Pulls a juke, tries to find an opening. It's not there. He's brought down for no gain.
Then Gretzmacher on the tackle for the Pointers. Had some help from Schmidt inside.
Now Curtin comes in the game, the speedy wide receiver / running back. Not big in stature, just 5'9" and 180, but he's got some great wheels. He can change direction in a hurry. On 2nd and 10 from the 50, Net with the fake pitch, rolls out, looks back, going downfield, trying to find Dauberton, who goes up for it, just tipped away and falls incomplete.
But Dauberton was there. He had beaten his defender on the play, but the ball once again was underthrown. This is what Tom Sawyer was talking about at halftime. He said, we've had receivers there, and the quarterback just hasn't made the play. Here, the ball underthrown by Net. Gives recovery time. And that's the reason why this play doesn't go for a big play, maybe even a touchdown.
3rd down and 10 now. With 6:55 to go in this third quarter, Winona State may lose some good field position. They go deep again, this time to Lilla. It's out there. Lilla brings it in. Touchdown.
Well, one play after Net fails to hit the open man. He delivers one perfectly to Lilla, hits it in stride, and Winona State has the lead for the first time in the game.
Couldn't have been much better on that one. The pattern and the pass was right on the money. Here's another look at it.
One-on-one coverage, and Lilla just beats Jonah Roth straight up the field. On that throw, Net had to be perfect, and he was. It hits Lilla in stride and has Winona State on top for the first time in the game.
Hopkins North's extra point is true, and Winona State, from trailing at halftime, now looks at a 4-point lead here with 6:47 to go in the third quarter. Tom Sawyer must be feeling very happy at this rapid turnaround at the Metrodome.
Watch the touchdown once again from the end zone, and it'll come from the left side of your screen. And it's just Lilla straight up the field, nothing fancy. You see Roth stumble at the end. He was already beaten at that point. The stumble was a non-factor. He may have been able to prevent the touchdown if he had kept his balance, but Lilla was going to make the catch either way. And Tom Sawyer's crew hits the big play they so desperately needed. 3 plays, 51 yards, and Lilla with his 4th touchdown catch of the year, has Winona State on top by 4, 25-21.
See the smile by Tom Sawyer. That's why he's stuck with the kid, even though Andy Nett has struggled here, maybe feeling some jitters. He is a freshman. This is a big game for him. He knows this is where the Vikings and all the NFL teams play. And maybe settling down. Tom Sawyer gave him a chance, didn't pull him, didn't make any rash decisions, and now Nett pays off with a big 50-yard touchdown pass. Kickoff goes deep. It's Roth in the end zone. He puts a knee down, and Stevens Point will start at their own 20.
This Pointer program, deep in tradition. They've been at or near the top of the WIAC throughout the 1990s. They unfortunately have had maybe their best run of football at the same time as Wisconsin lacrosse. The Eagles have won 6 conference titles in those 11 years and have been first or second every year but one. Stevens Point shared the title with lacrosse last year, shared the title in '98. This year's team hit by heavy losses to graduation and just not had that leadership to make big plays when the game's on the line, and that's the situation they are in right here. Somebody needs to step up and make a play.
However, as John Mish alluded to, he's got a bunch of young guys, and he doesn't have maybe the senior leadership he had the previous 2 seasons. But this year will do a lot to change all that next year. And as Wisconsin Stout found out a year ago, you can go from worst to first in this very good WIAC because there's so much depth from top to bottom in the conference. Short gain on 2nd and 8, just a gain of 2, making it a 6-yard gain as you see Wally Schmidt comes out of the pile there after picking up a couple of yards on the ground.
Once again, Davin Thompson in on the defensive play for Winona State. I don't know that there have been many seasons where you can look at a conference and have one team go worst to first and another go first to worst.
Pretty amazing. And Stevens Point by the coaches was ranked as one of the top 2 teams going in, so it's been a big surprise. Krause now back to pass, looking deep and almost able to stick it in the hands of his receiver, but unable to bring it down that time was the big tight end, Zertler. And they're going to Zertler a lot. Again, 1 catch all season coming into this, and he's been featured quite often today.
Krause delivers it on the money, splits the seam in the zone. Zertler stops and makes it a more difficult catch than it had to be.
Should have made that one too.
Now the Pointers dangerously have to kick it away and give Winona State's offense the football again, just seconds after they took the lead.
Curtin standing at his 43. Maney the kick, bounces it, gets a gratuitous bounce and all the way down to the 36 of Winona. Looked like it might go out at the 50, but it rumbled on down. Let's check out the total yards by half, and a tale of two states, a tale of 2 football games. Let's look at this, Anthony, as we've seen certainly Winona State turn things around.
Well, they have. It was a big play as a big part of it, but they also established that they could move it on the ground. They scored their first touchdown primarily on the ground with Walsh taking it in, and then showed the ability to make the big play. Most importantly, they've stopped the Stevens Point ground attack here in the second half.
There's Nett on the fake pitch, and then inside to Waltz, who was able to rumble forward for 8 yards. Ryan Walsh, a nice gain of 8 on first down.
Now, it's always amazing how an offensive line seems to follow the flow of a football game. When your team is playing well and things are going well, it always seems that that offensive line suddenly can control the line of scrimmage. And let's see if that holds true for Winona State. They were pushed around most of the first half by the Pointer defensive front. But here in the second half, and particularly now on this drive, we'll see if they go to the hard-nosed, smash-mouth style of running attack.
Nett this time with a pass just tipped away at the last instant as Dobberton was waiting for it, but the secondary comes up and makes a play for Stevens Point. Calling incomplete.
Actually, I think this ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and that forced it behind Dobberton. I think it was tipped right there, and then hits Dobberton in the hands.
Change direction.
Dobberton looks frustrated. He felt he should have made that catch, but It's amazing how even just the slightest change in trajectory can make that catch nearly impossible.
It's a timing play they work on in practice all week long, and when something's just a little off, it makes it tough on him. Net back to pass now on 3rd and short. Completes the pass. This time he's able to get it to Dobberden, who falls down at the 46-yard line in Stevens Point territory with the first down.
3rd catch of the game for Dobberden, who's been in the middle of things a couple of times on drop passes. Makes this one and absorbs the hit, hangs on for a first down.
And the backs line up in the eye behind Andy Nett, the freshman quarterback for Winona. He gives it to Curtin, who darts outside with that quick, tries to stop and turn upfield, shakes one tackle, shakes another, out to the 40, and what would have been a very short gain turns into a 5-yard advantage for Winona State because of the young man, Kevin Curtin.
Injured pointer on the play. Nick Halfley, their freshman linebacker, is down with what looks to be a twisted left knee. He was not involved in the play on this end. Dylan Maney just couldn't wrap up the shifty Curtin, who fights, twists, claws, crawls forward for 5 yards.
Put on the brakes, and Maney couldn't quite stop as fast. His rack and pinion wasn't up to the task, apparently. And a real nice gain for Curtin on a first down. Now it'll be a 2nd and 4 on the 40. Winona State, if they could put some points on the board here, have a chance of maybe deflating Stevens Point and maybe starting to pull away at some point. And a team that was favored going into this game, obviously, is the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference champions. And Stevens Point, as we pointed out all game long, struggling this year with just 1 victory. You wouldn't know it, though, from the first half of play, and even though Winona State has played very well and outperformed Stevens Point in the 3rd quarter, we still have a football game with 3:40 to go in the 3rd.
Well, John Mish must find a way to stop this Winona offense and keep his crew in the game, because you get the feel they're on the ropes right now, and Winona State, with a big play, might be able to knock them out here before the end of the 3rd quarter.
And Nett with the fake handoff, then comes back to Jepson. Jepson jukes forward for a gain of about 3. Now a flag flies out of the pile as something happened the referees didn't like. It looks like they're pointing towards Winona. I think it might have been Jepson, a little unhappy with how he was brought to the ground.
That's going to cost Winona dearly. Instead of 3rd and about 1.5 yards, it'll be 3rd down and 16. Well, when you have a chance to put a team away, you cannot afford silly mistakes like this one.
Dead ball, personal foul on the offense, 3rd down.
It almost had to be Jepson, as he was the only one right in the bottom of the pile, and that's right where the referee was looking when he pulled the cloth. Unless there was something I didn't see.
I actually thought it was one of the Winona linemen. May have been Mal Johnson. He was in the middle of things as well. There were 2 linemen just behind the pile, and a little pushing and shoving followed. Winona State 5 of 11 on 3rd downs, but more importantly, they are 3 of 4 in the 2nd half.
And this one, a test at 3rd and 16. Nett back to pass, has some time. He'll keep it. Crosses the 50, the 45, and out to the 41, but still 6 yards, 5 yards shy of the first down. And it'll bring up 4th down, and maybe an interesting case here. Do you definitely punt, or do you even consider the possibility of going for it on 4th down?
I think you have to punt it away. You cannot afford to give the ball back to Stevens Point out here across the 40-yard line. Now, it looks like Sawyer might go for it, but I think you have to kick this ball. Your defense has taken over the game. If you punt it, you can pin Stevens Point deep in their own territory. If you go for it and miss, you all of a sudden give this team life and field position in a situation where they've had neither in the 2nd half, and he's going to have to take a timeout because they just couldn't make up their minds quickly enough. I think this is a no-brainer. You punt the football.
Or keep this in mind. Since the punter is Ryan Walsh, who is also a running back and one who just scored most recently, having success on the ground, maybe you entertain the thought of a fake, or at least have Stevens Point think fake, and maybe you can get a little more advantage on your punt.
I think if you're going to go for it, you line up and go for it. You don't run a fake punt. But I think you have to punt this football because there's too much to lose if you go for it and miss. And frankly, even if you make the first down, it isn't a lock that you're going to score on this drive anyway. Now, if you punt it away, you pin them at the very worst at the 20-yard line. And the way Stevens Point has moved or failed to move here in the second half, I think you put the faith in your defense to continue to dominate, and you'll get the ball back in good field position again.
Can't argue with you there. It looks like that's what they'll do, too. And again, with 2:15 to go in this third quarter, Winona State with the 4-point lead. They've rallied back in this second half to take the lead on Stevens Point. And they'll try and pin them deep, it all appears, on 4th and 6 at the Stevens Point 42. Walsh is back to punt, standing at his 45-yard line. And they do kick it. There'll be no return. It bounces into the end zone as Walsh got his foot entirely into that one, and it'll come out to the 20 where Stevens Point will get the football with 2:08 to go in the third quarter. And Winona State holding on to that 4-point lead.
Well, he made no attempt to direct this kick toward either corner. He just kicked it straight away in hopes that his guys would get down there first and be able to down the ball before it crossed the goal line.
He's used to playing in that wind and the conditions. He probably figured his best kick would bring it about to the 5. And inside here, he got off a good one, and it just bounced into the end zone. Still bounced on the 3 before going into the end zone. Stevens Point now is with the football, and Krause hands off inside. Nothing doing at all, as that play is not producing a whole lot for Stevens Point as the ball goes to Goodman on the carry.
Davin Thompson again is there to make the stop. Watch 93 beats his block. Gets a hold of Goodman by the jersey, holds him up long enough to get help from the inside. Davin Thompson has single-handedly disrupted the Stevens Point running attack in the second half.
He's got some good ones on that defensive line too. Bushewitz, who you mentioned, 27 career sacks, and Derek Chance having a great career too. Back to pass now. Krause looking, he's got some time, looks for the short route, completes the pass. If it's in bounds, they're going to say out of bounds, as he was able to look to Steve Jones, who couldn't get the 2 feet down when he caught the ball. The 1 foot down, and either one of his feet would have been fine.
It was very close. Now, if he is shoved out of bounds by the defensive back, the officials can rule that he would have come down inbounds if not pushed. But it looks like he would have been out of bounds either way.
He was close, but he was unable to get those toes down before the push occurred. 3rd down and 9 on the 21 now, and Krause fakes handoff, rolls out, throws at the feet of his receiver Todd Goodman, and incomplete, bringing up 4th and 9. And the offense of Stevens Point is AWOL here in this second half.
1 first down in the second half for Stevens Point, and that came on the scramble by Krause on their first snap of the second half. Since that time, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And once again, Winona State will get excellent field position, and this is why you had to punt it away in the last series if you're the Warriors.
They're still going to get the football in great field position. A low snap, but Maney's able to get it off. And it fumbled back is unbelievable as Karma Tanomi was unable to get the handle on it, but he falls on it at his own 36. Did I do okay with it that time?
Kamrathanomi,
thank you. And his first name is Batavni or something thereabout. He's from Thailand, by the way. And he had a bit of jitters on that play, but he hangs on to the football, giving his team the ball 1st and 10 at their own 37-yard line. Again, clock winding down in the third quarter. 1:04 to play with A 25-21 Winona State lead over UW Stevens Point. Andy Nett on the fake handoff, looking deep, has some time. Now tries to scramble outside and brought down. Brought down in a sack as the defense gets to Andy Nett.
Travis Muldowney made the sack. Came through, got him just as Nett was looking to escape to the outside. Muldowney actually beat a double team to get through from the front side and just got him by the ankles. That's a big loss on the play, and suddenly the field position advantage enjoyed by Winona State can disappear quickly.
Muldowney making a great foot tackle there as Andy Nett has some foot speed and some agility, but unable to escape. 2nd and 21 at their 26. Nett back to pass and has some time. Looks to Curtin, completes the pass. Curtin fakes himself out at his own 26-yard line and is tackled after a gain nearly to the original line of scrimmage on this drive. Bringing up 3rd and 10.
This brings us to the end of the quarter, and Winona State leads by 4, but Stevens Point still hanging around.
Isn't that the Red Baron?
Yes, but who's he with?
Escape the everyday, even if it's just for dinner, with a delicious Red Baron Baked to Rise, our most incredible pizza yet.
Farming is hard work, long hours, and a bit unpredictable. But today, producers are putting together a cooperative system that's helping them reduce risk and get more from everything they produce, making it a little easier for them to greet each new day with confidence. Cenex Harvest states, we grow value.
Light, airy cones of crispy corn. There's no such thing as too many bugles. Bugles, more is better.
3 quarters are in the books. Now we have 1 quarter to play in this border battle. Pretty entertaining football game. We had a good one last night too, where Bemidji State was able to hang on to a narrow victory over UW River Falls. Now the Northern Sun Conference with the upper hand again as we begin the 4th quarter. 3rd and 11 at the 36-yard line. Andy Nett lining up Winona State. The 4-point lead and a 3rd and 11. Back to pass. Gets it away at the last second, but without enough on it to reach Kevin Curtin, falling incomplete, bringing up 4th down. The pressure was felt by Andy Nett as that defensive front of Stevens Point was getting to him and not allowing him to really get comfortable back there.
Well, he knew where his safety valve receiver was. He just looked over there a split second late. Wanted to give his downfield options as much time as possible to wriggle free.
Muldowney making another nice play defensively. Punt off by Walsh. Back at his own 25-yard line is Wilson, who gets across the 35 and hit very, very harshly there. And say hello to Derek Seek. Derek with a big play on special teams, and UW Stevens Point now gets the football. Here's a look at it.
Crowd groans as they watch the replay on the Jumbotron here inside the Metrodome. But how big was that sack by Muldowney? Look at the way the field position changed just because of that one play. Well, that coupled with the bobbled punt return by Cam Rathenomi.
And Muldowney also forced Nett to make that quick pass on 3rd down. Now here's Krause with the completion as he connects and able to find his receiver, Steve Jones, for what looks to be another 1st down. No, the they'll move the chains, and a first down for Stevens Point. And suddenly the Pointers saying, hey, we're in this football game, and down by only 4, 14 minutes to go, and very close now to Winona State territory.
Only the second completion of the second half for Krause. Jones had 7 catches during the season. He was one of their better receivers a year ago.
Now in shotgun, Krause, and it goes inside to Todd Goodman, who tries to get outside, and he can't. Great reaction by Winona State as they're able to keep it from breaking this one out, and it'd actually be a short loss on the play.
Jake Teege was there to make the stop, but there's a flag downfield that I believe is going to go against Winona State. Nick Yeager was tangled up downfield, and it's going to be a personal foul against Winona State.
Automatic first down.
Yeager got involved with a downfield blocker from Stevens Point, and Winona State continues to plague themselves with ill-advised penalties. The play was made by Teege at the line of scrimmage. Goodman just didn't have enough speed to get to the perimeter before the lateral pursuit of the Warrior defense.
Tom Sawyer is going to have a few words with his team now, because the reason why that they've lost 3 of their last 4, and including their last 2 games played in this Metrodome, last year was a good example. His team started to lose their cool. Now back to pass is Krause, incomplete, but a flag comes down, and it looked like quite possibly
it's going to be a hold.
No, I thought maybe it was something late on Krause, but they'll back Stevens Point up now.
Grayling Brandt was tangled up with his man, and this was right in front of the referee. He throws the flag. These are costly penalties.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Because of the fact that now you put yourself in a 1st and 20 situation. I think you'll be able to see it. Be on the right-hand side of your screen. Watch 94 for Winona State, John Stapleton. He gets held, and we just leave it prior to seeing the hold on that angle.
1st and 20. Krause tries the screen, but throws it into just a big bunch of congestion at the 45 of Stevens Point, incomplete. You know, you talk about Winona State, and again, they've had great success in the conference. They've won the NSIC 3 of the last 4 years, 5 of the last 8, and their overall record in this dome, in this series, is good. They're 11-5 in the Metrodome, but they've lost 3 of their last 4 and their last 2, and again, last year, as we pointed out, penalties and mistakes really cost him last year. Here's Krause back to pass, hits his tight end, complete to Zertler, who's having a season in 1 game, out to the 31 of Winona State, complete, and got that penalty back. It'll be 3rd and short.
Well, Krause had better give a thank you to Zertler when he gets back to the huddle, because he stood in and made this catch when Krause kind of hung him out. He floated it in there. Zertler was hit hard from behind by Travis Welch, the safety on the play, but he hung on to the football and therefore creates a 3rd and short for Stevens Point.
And they go for it right up the gut and get it. It's hard-nosed stuff. You give it to a guy like Wally Schmidt, and he'll find you a yard when you need it.
I think he's short.
Oh,
I think
maybe
he's short by a yard, maybe half a yard.
I don't know. It looks like they might take a measurement. It looks awfully close to me. We'll see how they.
I think he has to get halfway between the 27 and 28.
Oh,
and the ball is short of the 28. The officials will measure at the request of the Pointers. Well, actually, the Pointers now have just taken a timeout.
And if it is 4th down in that situation, that might be a good position for Stevens Point to go for it. You're really going to gain nothing by punting, and you're certainly out of field goal range right there. Not comfortable field goal range anyway. So even if they are short,
I think you have to go for
assuredly, you got to go for it. Especially when you got guys like Wally Schmidt, who, again, maybe just a bit short on this play, but when you got that offensive line and you look at the center goes 281, the guards all go 290, and your tackles are 3 bills. Just send those guys forward and follow them, and you ought to be able to get a half a yard. The defensive line, in case you're curious, for Winona State, their tackles go 245. Their ends do, rather. Their nose guard is 280, and their tackle, John Stapleton's 260. So the weight advantage up front would certainly way in favor of Stevens Point, and they're going to go for it, 4th and short. Line up in the eye, now they split out. Krause now in motion goes Goodman. He's going to keep it himself, and it's going to be a tussle, but I think he got it. He got it. A little extra effort after the initial surge, too. A little surprised they sent all the backs out, trying to stretch out that defense a little bit.
Certainly takes away any question about what play they're going to run when you motion all the backs out of the backfield, but good perseverance by Krause on this play because the initial surge was not there. He just kept digging, and eventually the horses up front got him enough for a first down. Stevens Point keeps the key drive of the game alive.
1st and 10 now at the 27. Goodman again in motion. Krause back to pass. Short drop. Finds Goodman on the flat. Knocked out of bounds after a completion. Oh, they say bobbling. No catch. They say he didn't have control of it as he was knocked out at the 25-yard line. Close play.
Goodman had to reach behind him, and boy, it looked to me like a catch and a fumble, but he got a foot down with control of the football, then seemed to bobble it when he was hit from behind. Not a major loss on the play because it would have only been about a 2-yard gain anyway.
2nd and 10 now. Inside the handoff to big Wally Schmidt, who barrels out to the 20, gain of 7 on 2nd and 10, bringing up 3rd and 3, and they're at the 20-yard line.
Quick trap up front, and they get Schmidt loose. He has found the going difficult here in the second half. He rushed for 46 yards in the first half, but here in the second half, including that 7-yard run, he has only 16.
3rd and 3 on the 20. 12:04 to go in this game. Stevens Point down by 4, but driving. On the flat, Wally Schmidt with the completion across the 15. The first down as he falls down at the 10-yard line.
But perfectly designed and executed play for the Pointers. They get 3 linemen pulling on the play out in front of Schmidt, and all 3 manage to find a defender and get a pad on them. That allows Schmidt an extra 6 or 7 yards. Look at how all 3 linemen out front. Many times you'll see those screens where the linemen get out there but don't get a body on anybody. All 3 pulling linemen did on this play, and that allowed Schmidt to cut back and go for an extra 6 yards.
1st and goal at the 10 with 11:33 to go, and the handoff goes to Goodman, barreling off tackle for a gain of about 2 or 3. Again, 11:23 to go, the clock on the move. Winona State hanging on to a 25-21 lead. The first half was mostly Stevens Point. Winona State has owned the 3rd quarter, but now bouncing back are the Pointers. And 2nd and 7, 2nd and goal rather, on the 7. Krause looks for the quick pass. Tries to find Jones, but it's deflected, knocked away on a nice defensive effort by Ned Welch, the younger brother of Travis Welch.
Well, Welch read this play immediately because that's where the contact originated. See the quick slant, you see the bodies collide, but that's just Welch going for the football. Both players have the right to go for the ball, and when Welch reads the pattern as early as he did, it looks like interference, but it really is not. It's Welch nearly coming up with the interception, and now a big 3rd down play for the Pointers.
3rd and goal from the 7. Back in the shotgun. Krause will keep it. He's going for the end zone, trying to extend that 6'4" frame, but as far as he can get is the 2-yard line, which will bring up 4th down.
And now the Pointers will opt for the field goal to get within 1, as they've spotted the ball back at about the 3-yard line, and that's probably the smart call. A little overly ambitious to go for this touchdown, but on the other hand, only 10-20 to go. You may not get back down here with another chance to score.
At least not this close and this great of an opportunity. They'll go for the field goal. 20-yard kick is good. And Jason Stuck puts it through and brings the game within one. Stay with us. 10-10 to go in this fourth quarter. We got a nail biter in the border battle. Winona State leading, but by only one.
Get more out of life when you're reaching out. Gotta get things done, that's what it's all about. Yeah, working or playing, it's the power to do. It's how you live, and we'll be there for you. We bring the power to you every time. You've got the power of lion energy. We're on for you.
Patty Melt, Baker's Man. Make a pair of Patty Melts fresh as you can. San Francisco sourdough, Milwaukee rye, Culver's Patty Melt satisfy. Patty Melt custard malt, Culver's guy. Make a custard malt, liquefy. Have a malt with sourdough, have a malt with Swiss. Nobody makes fresh taste so delish. Patty Melt, custard malt, Culver's, man. Make a pair of Patty Melts no one else can.
The NSIC WIAC Border Battle on MSC is brought to you by Phillips 66, by Northland Ford, by Schwann's, by U.S. Bank, by Cenex Harvest States, by Bugles, and by Alliant Energy.
There you look at the score, a tight one here at the Metrodome. Stevens Point kicking off. Curtin gets it after a bouncy kick at his 20, tries to reverse field, now cuts up, crosses 25 to the 27, and Winona State gets the football. Curtin, a dangerous runner, but even there you can see they're not trying to give him any opportunity to get ahead of steam.
Now they've been trying to keep it away from him all game long. They've done it with some degree of success. 12-play scoring drive for the Pointers that results in the field goal, cutting the lead down to a single point. The difference right now, the missed field goal by the Pointers and the two-point conversion converted by Winona State.
9:59 on the clock, 1st and 10 at their own 27. Net, hands off. Inside the handoff, not much going there as the defense steps up and stops Walsh to a gain of about 1. The clock becoming very important here as we wind down the game at 9:43 and counting. Again, Winona State with that 1-point lead. But they've had a little more offensive success in this second half than Stevens Point. So certainly a long drive here would do Tom Sawyer, the head coach of Winona, as you see him there. I'm sure it would make him feel a lot better.
Well, they haven't had many long drives today. It's been tough against this Stevens Point defense.
There's the pitch to Curtin, gets outside, he breaks one tackle, across the first down and across the 40 to the 43. And a first down. And he's limping as he comes up. That's not a good sign, as he is the speed demon of this team. Following his blockers. Brendan Bratt's laying a nice block there and helping Curtin get out there to the 41.
Well, these moves have been so quick, and look at how the left ankle tweaks just a little bit.
1st and 10. This time they give it to Walsh, but the flags are flying. Walsh takes it for a gain of 4, but it's in the territory. Yep, and they'll bring it back. Legal procedure. 8:41 on the clock here at the Metrodome.
False start on the offense, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
A little extra movement in the backfield prior to the snap brings the flag, and 1st and 15 now for the young man. There he is, Andy Nett. Storybook season for him, struggling a bit today, maybe a bit of nerves and jitters being a young man. His hometown is Winona. He became the starter in week 5 and he's going to a bowl game. Fake pitch, then inside, goes to Walsh. Crosses the 42. Gain of about 4, which should bring up 2nd and 10. Here's Walsh. They have a rich family tradition. His brother is an assistant coach. The family members have all gone to Winona State. Mom and Dad likes that. It's a lot easier for them on Saturday afternoons. And they've all had success there too at Winona, getting educations and playing college football. 2nd and 10 on the 42. Net back to pass, has time. Now looks out to Curtin, but throws it too strong as Curtin was covered anyway, but falls incomplete, bringing 3rd and 10 at the 42.
Curtin well covered on the play. He was just trying to sneak out into the left flat. Safety valve was covered by Nick Caffley on the play.
Considering they're going to a bowl game, they'll play December 2nd. For Andy Nett to join that Winona State basketball team, and he will, as a point guard and off guard, they'll be well into their practice and season by the time he can join the squad. But that's a good thing for Tom Sawyer. 3rd and 10 now. Nett back to pass, feeling the pressure, and he goes down in a hurry. And Travis Muldowney, who's had quite a game, brings him down in a big sack at the 33.
2nd sack of the day for Muldowney. He's been in the backfield regularly here in this 2nd half. 5.5 sacks on the year for Muldowney, who once again beats his man on the outside. Sack pushes him all the way back to the 34-yard line.
Well, on 4th and 18, there's no question what Winona State will do. They'll call a timeout to talk about it. Stevens Point wants to discuss how they're going to handle this return and the following offensive drive.
Well, Stevens Point called the timeout, and this could come back to haunt them down the stretch.
We'll continue 4th quarter. Just a close margin. Stay with us for the final 6:59 here on MSC.
It's the fastest growing sport in the country. A sport defined by performance, determination, and teamwork. The pros know when conditions lean to the extreme, you gotta go with the performer. And the 66 team is driven to perform. To protect your engine start to finish, drive with Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Premium Quality Motor Oil.
Proof again that Phillips 66 is the performance company.
Hey.
Hey.
The new Ford Focus. Great gas mileage, great price at your Northland Ford store.
A reminder, we'll have football following this game. UW Lacrosse will take on Northern State as the border battle continues this afternoon here on MSC. Close one here, though. 1-point game. Winona State with the lead, and they're back to punt. Ryan Walsh lets it go at his own 25. And back to get it is Jonah Roth. That is 29. Breaks through one tackler across the 35 to the 37. And Stevens Point with 6:50 on the clock, trailing by 1, trying to mount a drive here and go back on the plus side.
Well, there's a lot of time left, but at the same time, time is starting to run out. And what I mean by that is that 6:50, this drive, not a factor, but it is a factor in that this might be the last time Stevens Point touches the football.
Krause back in shotgun formation on 1st and 10 at his own 38. Rolling out, looking, having some time. Now he's looking downfield and completes the pass. Able to find his guy, and Massey able to get across the 30 to the 40 to the 34 of Winona State. Massey just running a nice pattern, then waiting for the ball to come in his arms, and brings it in for the first down.
Great job by Krause, waiting, and then nice touch as he floats it in. over the outstretched hands of Walsh. And it's all the way down to the 34-yard line. 3 catches today for Levi Massey, who came in with only 4 on the year.
Now Krause back to pass in all kinds of time. Then he runs into his own blocker and then goes down in the arms of the defensive player, and a big play by John Busowitz. Now Busowitz will get the sack here, but he had a lot of help as Krause didn't see his own blocker in front of him. Or so it seemed.
Krause's trying to set up the throw. It's a difficult throw because he's rolling left and then has to throw. As a right-handed quarterback, it requires you an extra step to turn and plant your body, and as he tried to turn to plant, he was forced into his own man and goes down. First sack of the day for Winona State.
And Ted Sauer of Stevens Point did as much to bring him down. Krause this time completes it on the pass to Wally Schmidt. Not for on 2nd and 19, able to get, well, about 5 of that back.
Boy, those sacks change the scope of your offense so dramatically. Now here you sit 3rd and very long. And imagine Stevens Point has to think about this in terms of 2 downs to get 14 yards.
Well, they don't have a lot of deep play potential. And one thing about Krause, he's mobile, but he's feeling a bit of pressure here in the second half. He's back now. Again, feeling the pressure from the outside. Gets it across, deflected, but complete to Wally Schmidt, who was able to bring it in somehow through all that and rumbles all the way down to the 2.
A big play by Wally Schmidt. It was a good read by Krause. He knew that Schmidt was behind the deepest coverage in the Winona State zone. And he tried to just float it in there and allow Schmidt time to get under the football. He nearly floated it too much, and Schmidt had to react to a tip ball. He makes the catch and rumbles down inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. 6 catches today for Wally Schmidt.
And on 1st and goal from the 3, Goodman rolling off tackle and into the end zone. Stevens Point strikes back on the NSIC champs. The WIAC cellar dwellers now own a lead over the NSIC champs with 5 minutes to go in the game. It's a 5-point lead with the extra point to come. An impressive bit of reaction of Stevens Point after they saw their lead go away in the second half. They rambled back here after the big play and the tip pass for Wally Schmidt.
Boy, I go for 2 here to try and get the lead to 7. Some confusion on the part of the Pointers, though. Will they get the play off in time? It's a risky play because it leaves you with a lead of less than 6, meaning a touchdown beats you without an extra point. And Stevens Point is going to have to burn their final timeout of the second half, trying to get a 2-point conversion off in time. Now, the book or these charts that they talk about all the time will tell you never go for 2 in this instance and keep the lead at 5 rather than 6. But I like the strategy. Try and get that 7-point bulge and put the pressure on Winona State. How often does an extra point get missed? And that's the theory, is that if you kick your 1 point, you go up 6, you force Winona State to make the point after if they should score. To me, why not go for 2, try and make it 7, and put Winona State in a spot where even that extra point can only tie the game.
And let's take it a step further. If you heard the interview at halftime, John Mish, the head coach, said, we're going to have some fun. This is our last game. We're not going to leave anything on the laying out there. We're going to go for it. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do here. They had to call the timeout, though, as the play clock was down to 1, and they still weren't quite ready to get off the snap. Losing that timeout could come back and hurt them, but it was a wise decision rather than try and hurry a play. This is a very big play for them, because again, with a 5-point lead now, if they go up by 7, no matter what Winona State does, you got a pretty good shot of hanging on to the lead, because 2-point conversions, we'll see. They're not gimmies here, but we'll see how they do here on the 2-point conversion. As Krause back to pass, he has some time, planted away though. Busowitz sticks his big mitt up in the air and slaps it away, and the lead will remain at 5.
Well, this is why the book tells you don't go for 2. Now Winona State touchdown, even without a point after, wins it for the Warriors. Busowitz comes through and just beat his man to the outside. They were looking for Gast, who was wide open on the out. Busowitz just got around to the outside and was able to get his hands up and knock it down. Luke Hilgeman, the sophomore tackle, couldn't contain his man on the right side of the line.
And for Buzzowitz, this is his final game here at the Metrodome. He's had a pretty good series here playing in the Dome. He goes off to play, of course, in the bowl game down on December 2nd. It'll be his final collegiate game. He's a big senior from Turtle Lake, Wisconsin. I know a lot of folks up in Turtle Lake, and they had a nice career at Winona State. 5 minutes to go in the game. This game anything but over, as Stevens Point has the 5-point lead, but Winona State will get the football here. And keep an eye on Kevin Curtin, who will be deep. Obviously, Stevens Point will kick it away from him. There's a look at the drive. 4 plays, 62 yards, a minute 50. Goodman with that nifty 3-yard run for touchdown. And they kick a line drive kicker, obviously away from Curtin, just at the up man. Up to the 46, though, but still fabulous field position for Winona State. I wonder really what your advantage is here, Anthony, because you roll the dice when you kick deep, but at the same time, you're giving them fabulous field position with 4:53 to go.
At this point, I think with a lead, you had to take the chance to kick it deep, because now you give Winona State a short field. They begin at the 46-yard line.
Net with the 1st and 10 at the 46. Again, Winona down by 5. Gives it to Curtin, who gets outside. Curtin breaking the foot. The ball is loose.
And Roth has it for Stevens Point.
Stevens Point comes up with the big play. Curtin had turned the corner, had the first down, and is stripped of the football. Big play by Roth.
Roth was the man who stripped it and just simply wrestled it away from Curtin. And the freshman gives it away for Winona State.
If you watch Curtin, he is a great runner. He's done some fabulous things, but he doesn't always do the right thing hanging out of the ball. Watch him here. Just got to tuck it in at this situation, but he doesn't. It's just hanging out there.
And the ball rolled right under Malachi Johnson. Watch this, 61 for Winona State. He doesn't even realize the ball's loose until Roth has it for Stevens Point.
Now Krause and Stevens Point in their own territory. It'll be now 2nd and 8 on the 45 after the short handoff inside. Again, 4:29. There's the turnovers. That's telling the tale here in this, especially here in the second half. Winona State has given it up twice, and Stevens Point has been efficient so far. The clock continuing to wind down. A 5-point lead for Stevens Point, but right now what they want to do is just churn the time off the clock. They don't necessarily need to get points. They'd be nice, but if they can wind the clock down and make Winona State go all for nothing, they might be in their best situation. Krause rolling out dangerously close to the line of scrimmage, going deep and just a bit too far for Jones. Incomplete.
Well, they went for the knockout punch right here. A first down or 2 might ice it, but John Mish is thinking a touchdown certainly will put it away. They had Jones one-on-one up the sideline, but the ball was overthrown. Turnovers have plagued Stevens Point all year. They're a -6 in the turnover ratio department. Winona State, by comparison, a +2. But here today, the Warriors a -2, and that's why Stevens Point leads by 5 in the closing minutes.
3rd and 8 on the 45. 3:54 to go in the game. Krause hands off inside to Wally Schmidt, who rumbles forward for more than enough for the first down. All the way into Winona territory at the 46.
And here's another example of a spot where an offensive line seems to follow the flow of the football game. Stevens Point struggles to run the football all half, but right now when they sense that they've got a chance to put it away, they execute up front. A great trap block by Paul Stefik to open the hole for Paul Schmidt, or Wally Schmidt, who then sneaks right up the middle for a first down.
Stefik weighing 308, used all of it right there to just hold the defenders away and allowing the hole. Now here goes Goodman on the counter. A short gain to the 45, gain of about 1. Again, the clock, the story here as much as the scoreboard. It's the 3:14 and winding down here in the 4th quarter with Stevens Point holding a 5-point lead.
But right now, just make sure you run that play clock down inside 5 seconds before you snap it. And even without another first down, Winona State will either have to burn their timeouts or get the football somewhere in the neighborhood of 1:15 to 1.5 minutes to play.
Play clock at 2 when they get it off, and Schmidt has it. Off tackle finds an opening out to the 35. Another first down for Stevens Point.
Now you force Winona State to use their timeouts on defense. They'll have to use them after first down and after second down. And they are looking at about a minute when they get this football back, maybe 1.5 minutes if they can force a 3 and out.
Funny how Stevens Point here, again, this has not been a good season for them. They've had one win coming in, but what's happening today is not that much unlike last year. When in the border battle, a late rally, they go on to beat Bemidji State. And they're playing with a lot of heart here. And then this time it is their final game of the year, and they're playing very, very inspired. Handoff inside again to Schmidt, this time able to just get a couple out to the 32-yard line. Clock again. The story is Winona State calls timeout with 2:14 to go in this football game.
Now you call another timeout after second down, which will be somewhere around 2:05. Then a third down play after which the clock will run. Assuming you can hold Stevens Point without a first down, that means you'll get it back with about 1:15 to play and no timeouts.
That is if they can hold Stevens Point from another first down, and that's very much a question right now. A lot of it because of that guy right there, Wally Schmidt. As you can see, 85 yards today, and he's had a lot of success in this this drive for Stevens Point.
Well, last year the WIAC watched Wisconsin-Eau Claire go from the championship in 1998 and a playoff berth to the bottom of the pack, but come in here and play very well against the NSIC champions from Northern State. And here Stevens Point has done the same thing the following season.
2nd and 7, and Krause's rolling out. He'll keep it. Oh, big hit at the 30-yard line. Whoa, stepping up. Derek Seek just laid it on to Krause after he's able to get just a very few yards.
Now they'll wait and save their timeout for after the third down play, so they'll snap this one at about 1:30 remaining, and a first down means the game is over.
Got to give the credit to also Jesse Isom. He was there with Seek on that crunching hit on Krause, but Krause will take it. He's a tough kid. 3rd and 5 now. 1:33 to go in the game. The handoff goes outside, this time to Lance Gast, who doesn't want to step out of bounds, but he does.
He does, and that stops the clock. It will give Winona State a timeout. It is 4th down, and now if you're Stevens Point, you're outside of field goal range, but probably inside of punting range, and they'll just go for the first down here and try and win the football game.
At the 31-yard line, the 30.5, really they probably could only gain 10 yards by punting anyway. I think their goal here is to just make sure the play clock gets down to the 1 or 2 seconds.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, that's true, but they want to
first down wins it. If they're stopped, Winona State has a chance.
Keep it on the ground and keep the clock moving. They're going to throw it. He's going to keep it, rather. It looks like Krause now gets the first down as he crosses the 25, depending on the mark, and they should give him the first down.
Easy first down. He has it by 3 yards, and that's going to do it for Stevens Point. They will pull off the upset and defeat the NSIC champions. Well, what a victory for the WIAC here.
John, the coach of UW Stevens Point, just in jubilation as he's seen Krause here just get it done himself. It looked like he was looking for a receiver, nothing going. He kept it and stretched that 6'4" frame out enough for the first down.
And he knows they've pulled off a major upset here. You see the excitement on his face. He'll kneel on it. And Stevens Point will coast home. Winona takes their final timeout, but it's not going to be nearly enough as we are inside 50 seconds remaining. Stevens Point gets their second win. And boy, you look at this season, the overtime loss to Northern, lost by a touchdown to Drake, lost by a touchdown at Stout, lost by a touchdown to Oshkosh. That was the way the season started, but they'll be able to forget that because they can look at this and say, but we closed the season with a win against the conference champs from an up-and-coming, improving Division II conference.
And a team that's going to a bowl game. And that is big for the coach, obviously. And John Mish has got to be looking at it that way. It helps in recruiting. It helps in that old pride thing. And you know, their team battled hard. They had the lead at halftime. It was slipping away. Momentum was all on Winona's side, and they just stole it back the last 5 minutes of this, eight minutes of this football game. All but a formality now.
Well, the WIAC comes up with a big win here. This will even the series at 2 games aside. La Crosse to do battle with Northern State in the next game. You'll be able to see that one here on MSC as well. And tonight, a couple of intriguing matchups. Stout Duluth in the final game, and this border battle may come down to that game between a contender from the NSIC against the champs from the WIAC.
There's John Mish, 13 years at UW Stevens Point. And this was not a good season, but still, what a way to end it. You'd never know from this team that the team that played in the playoffs a year ago, this is just their second victory on the season. But jubilation on the other side, obviously, Winona State. The consolation they can take is that they have one more football game. On December 2nd, they'll be playing in the Mineral Water Bowl, but they're probably not all that happy about that at this very moment.
Well, they're going to have to play better than they played today. They didn't execute when they had chances to make big plays. They couldn't stop the physical running attack of the Pointers. And they're going to have to be able to avoid their own mistakes if they're going to beat it's going to be a very formidable opponent in that Mineral Water Bowl.
There's your final. UW Stevens Point gets off to the first half lead, then sees their lead squander, but comes back with the victory, and they go on to defeat Winona State here in the border battle. But as you said, plenty ahead, including Northern and UW La Crosse, which should be a good one, and it's coming up here on MSC.
That's coming next. This one was produced by Liz Forge, directed by Wade Rowland. For Sarah Pearman and Mike Woodley, I'm Anthony LaPanta. Reminder, stay with us. Northern State and La Crosse is next on MSC.
Guess where we are. Welcome to the Slant on Fox Sports Bet, sponsored by Chevrolet. I am Tim Begg, and I'm in Diamond, Oklahoma. Number 1 versus number 2. It doesn't really matter. Can you still hear me? Oh, there's no breaks.